All right. Happy Easter morning, everybody. Christos Aneste. Christos Voskrese. Christos Evertat. Christ is risen. So, yeah, there's some Easter baseball. Who knows? I'm spending the holiday by myself, so I thought I would just do some baseball. All right. So, let's just jump right into things here. This is the Boston.com tournament continues. And so, let's start things out here. We're going to have the Blue Jays versus the Dodgers, it looks like, for this game. So the link to the source material for this is at the in the descriptions here, down in the comments section or what have you. All right. So let me just find the proper game. This gets easier to do as you get into the second round. So pretty funny stuff. All right. Is it this one? Nope. It's not. This one's over. That one's over. That one's over. Okay, and we're going to wait for that one, I think. So we're moving along here. So this is going to be the 1993 Blue Jays against the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers. Juan Guzman takes the mound for the Blue Jays, and he'll be opposed by Johnny Padres. So let's get to Ebbets Field and play ball. Hopefully the video we did the other night on how to kind of custom or create a World Series out of like actually a season helps a lot of folks. All right, for the visiting Toronto Blue Jays, leading off at second base, Roberto Alomar. Batting second at shortstop, Tony Fernandez. Batting third at first base, John Olerud. And the cleanup spot in left field, Ricky Henderson. Batting fifth in right field, Joe Carter. Batting sixth, center fielder Devon White. Batting seventh at third base, Ed Sprague. Batting eighth and catching, Pat Borders. And pitching and batting ninth, Juan Guzman, who in 1993 had a 14-3 record, 3.99 under an average of 1.45 whip, 7.9 strikeouts per 9 innings, and 4.5 walks. I'm going to take this time again to wish Dave Gardner a happy birthday. Celebrated it yesterday, but I believe you should have birthday weeks. All right, for the hometown Brooklyn Dodgers, leading off at third base, Jackie Robinson. Batting second and shortstop, Pee Wee Reese. Batting third and catching, Roy Campanella. And the cleanup spot in center field, the Duke of Flatbush, Duke Snyder. Batting fifth, the Reading Rifle in right field, Carl Furillo. Batting sixth at first base, Gil Hodges. Batting seventh, left field, Sandy Amoros. Batting eighth at second base, Jim Gilliam. And Johnny Padres will be pitching and batting ninth. A 9-10 record for the world champion 1955 Dodgers. 3.95 average for him. 1.36 whip. 6.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, and 3.2 walks. All right, so it's Toronto versus Brooklyn, and let's go. As we head out to Ebbets Field, it is 62 degrees and a wind blowing in from right at 12 miles per hour. This is win and move on or lose and go home. Just letting everything load in here, and here we are at iconic Ebbets Field with the Abe Stark sign and the Dodger Symphony Band and Hilda Chester and all the wonderful triumph and tragedy that happened at this grand old ballpark, opened in 1913 um, by Charles Hercules Ebbets. What a name! What a name! What a name! Starting defense for the Brooklyn Dodgers in left field, Sandy Amoros. In center, Duke Snyder. And in right, Carl Furillo. Going from first to third, we've got Gil Hodges, Jim Gilliam, Pee Wee Reese, Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella catching, and Johnny Padres will be pitching. All right, let's do a little fly around here of Ebbets Field, covered exactly one city block. And we are ready to go. Yep. 0-2 pitch on the way to Robbie Alomar. Alomar, big swing and a miss, so Padres waste no time. 3 pitches and 1 out. All right, brings up Tony Fernandez now, 306 hitter 4 homers, 50 ribbies in 1993. Padres has the sign, and here's the pitch. And Fernandez swings high fly ball to right field, but Carl Furillo, backing up toward the track, makes the catch for out number 2. All right, here's John Olerud now. 24 home runs, 107 runs batted in, 363 average in 1993. Left-handed batter in there against the lefty Johnny Padres, and they count full on Olerud. And Olerud, this one just off the plate. So Padres loses Olerud. So runner on first now for the Toronto Blue Jays. And here is Ricky Henderson. 215 average, limited time here in 1993. 163 at bats, 4 homers, 12 runs batted in. 1-2 pitch on the way to Henderson. And Henderson drives this deep to left field. And this one is gone. So Ricky Henderson, many consider the greatest leadoff man in baseball, hitting in the cleanup spot and enjoying it there with a 2-run shot, 356 feet out to left field, right beyond the Lucky's Taste Better billboard in left field here. Let's have another look at that one. And quickly, 2 runs on the board for the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays. And there we go. Lucky's, I guess, do taste better. And along with a Schaefer beer, touch 'em all, Ricky Henderson. All right, here's Joe Carter. And, of course, we don't need to dwell too much on that amazing home run that he hit in the World Series. The most important home run you'll ever hit, right, Joe Carter? And here we go, Johnny Padres. Full count on Joe Carter. And Joe Carter looks at a called strike 3 inside corner, but the Blue Jays pick up 2 runs on 1 hit, and that was a home run by Ricky Henderson. We go to the bottom of the first. The 1993 Blue Jays 2 and the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers coming to bat. Looking at the starting defense for the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays, in left Ricky Henderson, in center Devon White, and in right Joe Carter. John Olerud anchoring down at first base, Robbie Alomar at second, Tony Fernandez at short, Ed Sprague at the hot corner, Pat Borders catching, and Juan Guzman ready to face the great Jackie Robinson. And there's Nathaniel, and there is Clinton. Yep, the Lords of Flatbush, absolutely. All right, Guzman, 2-2 pitch on the way to Jackie.
Strike 3.
Big swing and a miss for Jackie Robinson. So earlier, about 5 days ago, we celebrated not only Tax Day, but a more important day, Jackie Robinson Day. April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson takes the field for the first time. First black major league player in about, 60 years. The last one being Fleet Walker. All right, 1-1 pitch now on the way to Pee Wee Reese. And Reese swings on this one. And this one, base hit, pass short into left field. And Reese is aboard. And potential tying run comes to the plate now in the dangerous Roy Campanella. A .313 average in 1955, 32 home runs, 107 runs batted in. So in their long history in Brooklyn, 1955 is the only world championship ever brought to Ebbets. By the time the Dodgers moved out west in 1957, it took them just 2 seasons to win their first world championship as the Los Angeles Dodgers. All right, so Campanella in the box, Pee Wee Reese on at first, 1 away. 1-2 pitch. Campanella, swing and a miss. So change up there coming from Juan Guzman. 2 down, 2-0 your score. And here's Duke Snider. 309 average, 42 left the yard, 136 runs batted in for him. 3-1 pitch. And Guzman loses Duke Snider, so 2 Dodgers aboard, 2 down for the Reading Rifle. 314 average in 1955, 26 home runs, 95 runs batted in. And here is the pitch to Furillo, and this one's going to be a slow grounder to short, and coming all the way home is Pee Wee Reese. So RBI single for Carl Furillo. The Dodgers get one back here in the bottom of the first. It's 2-1. Love Ebbets Field, says Nathaniel. So do I. If I could go back in time, This would be one of the parks I would definitely want to hang out and see a game or 20. All right, here's Gil Hodges. 27 homers, and he batted in 102 in 1955. Duke Snyder on at second, trailing him Carl Furillo at first. 2-0 delivery, and Hodges hard hit ground ball to short, and up with that is Tony Fernandez, and he's going to just toss right on there to second for the 6-4 putout. But the Dodgers cut the lead in half as we head to the top of the second. The 1955 Dodgers trail the 1993 Blue Jays 2-1. And Nathaniel says he would go there too. So Nathaniel's Brewers winning last night in our virtual baseball world. All right, Devon White, Ed Sprague, and Pat Borders do up the number 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Toronto Blue Jays. Johnny Padres is fan 2 and walked 1 and giving up that home run. Here's the pitch. White swinging on the first pitch. This one hit deep to center field, off the wall for extra bases. And Devon White will pull into second with a leadoff double. So Snyder playing that carom nicely off that kind of angled center field wall there. But runner in scoring position for the Toronto Blue Jays, and it brings up the third baseman, Ed Sprague, a .260 average, 12 home runs, 73 runs batted in. Padres with the 2-2 pitch, and swing and a miss. Ed Sprague goes down, swinging on a curveball. So one away. Devon White remains at second. Devon White, excellent speed as Pat Borders steps in. Pat Borders, .254 average, 9 home runs, 55 runs batted in for Borders. Full count. Borders, swing and a miss. So Johnny Padres dealing another changeup there. So pulling the chain, picking up his 4th K of the game. And here's the pitcher, Juan Guzman. 0-2 pitch. And steal rake 3. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors. A runner left in scoring position. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Toronto leads Brooklyn 2-1. Thanks for spending a little bit of your time Easter with me, or Pascha if you're Eastern Christian. Philip Reynolds, I had sent you an email and never got a response from you, so check your email if you ever want to get together and just you have an old chin wag, just you and me. All right. Good to see you and happy Easter to you. Philip Christos Aneste, as we say in the Eastern Orthodox Church, Christ is risen. All right, Sandy Amoros leads things off here. 10 home runs, 51 runs batted in, .247 average for the Dodger lefty. Count full on Amoros. And this one, routine ground ball to first. And John Olerud will take this to the bag unassisted. 1 away. Okay, well, if you haven't checked your email, I guess that's why you didn't see it, Philip. All right, here's second baseman Jim Gilliam. Jim Gilliam would accompany the Brooklyn Dodgers to L.A. in another 2 seasons from this one. Gilliam hit .249 in 1955, 7 homers, 40 runs batted in. AP Christos Aneste, happy Easter, my friend. All right, the 1-0 delivery. And Jim Gilliam cuts on this one. And this one is just going to be a nice snag there. Diving stop by Tony Fernandez. Plays it on a little hop, and he's not going to take a chance with Jim Gilliam's speed letting that go away. Fernandez not rushing his throw. What an infield these Toronto Blue Jays have. 3 Gold Glovers, short, second, and first. You're not going to see just in strong up the middle, too, with Devon White sporting that sporting the Gold Glove out there in center field. And here's Johnny Padres now. 1 down, Jim Gilliam on at first. And here is the pitch. And Padres, a little tapper back to the mound. And Juan Guzman up with it and fires on to first to John Olerud for the 1-3 putout on the plane. Jim Gilliam moves into scoring position as we swing around to the top of the order again. And Jackie Robinson, who is nothing for 1. Count even 2-2. And Jackie Robinson stands there like a house by the side of the road and watches that changeup go by. The Dodgers leave 1 in scoring position, and we head to the top of the 3rd inning. The 93 Jays 2, the 55 Bums 1. Back at the top of the order now for Toronto, Roberto Alomar Tony Fernandez and John Olerud do up. Alomar 0 for 1 in the game. Here's the pitch. First pitch swinging, hard hit ground ball to third. Playing it on the hop there is Jackie Robinson. Strong throw across the diamond. Score that one 5-3, 1 up, 1 down for Tony Fernandez, who's nothing for 1. Fernandez on the fastball and a 2-2 pitch. 6 strikeouts now for Johnny Padres. 2 down for John Olerud. John Olerud walked last time, and this time, little squibber there up the third base line, and ranging to his left is Jackie Robinson. So 1, 2, 3 go the Jays. Bottom of the third, Toronto 2, Brooklyn 1. So am I, AP. So, Blessed Pascha. Wow, I did not know. I'm Orthodox as well. So cool. So I would answer you, Evertat Indiat. Yeah. So, yeah, indeed he is risen, right? And Voistinu Voskrese. We can't forget the Russian, right? So Christos Voskrese, Voistinu Voskrese, and an Italian, Cristo es risorto. I forget how to say it in Irish, but there we go. Do I play any game? I don't play any other sports games besides baseball, but other games, tons of different games, Philip. I'm a gamer junkie, man. I play RPGs. I play both sci-fi and high fantasy 4X strategy games. Play some arcade stuff. I love like big uh, space games like No Man's Sky, Elite Dangerous, X4, or the whole X series, I guess. So yeah, but no other sports games. I'm not a fan of other sports. I might play Blood Bowl one time on here, maybe. I'm also a big fan of Total War, Warhammer, and in fact anything Warhammer. So I've done some Warhammer stuff on the channel, but baseball is the only. And I've talked to the guys on here, Philip, about doing other games, and it was a rather tepid sort of reception. I think that this has kind of been branded pretty much a baseball channel, so I guess that's what we'll go with. But yeah, if you were to see just my Steam library, you would get a very, very, very good sense that I am a gamer. I love simulation games like Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, getting into a really super amazing one called Inzoi. So yeah, pretty, and also like I love retro gaming as well. So yeah, I am a gamer. The Trophy Dodgers of Brooklyn. So AP, I think you and I are the only Orthodox Christians that I know of in this community. Rest of them, Catholics of some stripe, and Protestants. In fact, I don't even know if there's any Byzantine Catholics in here. I think they're all Latinite Catholic, or those that are Catholic are Latinrites, and so there we go. So at least I know I've got an Orthodox brother here. That is nice. So Philip says that football, and he means soccer, is his second go-to game because he's an FC Cincinnati fan. Then hockey. Okay, nice. So baseball, football, and hockey. Yeah, Philip, sorry to disappoint you that you're not going to see any other sports on this channel, except maybe a Blood Bowl game sometime, because Blood Bowl has spells and vampires and elves and all kinds of stuff, and it's a tactically very, very deep game, and super cool commentators as well. So we'll do that some night as a surprise once I get things over things migrated over to my new PC. Yeah, oh, I appreciate you asking, man. So AP says, growing up in Brooklyn and walking to school, I remember sometimes seeing the old trolley tracks underneath the street pavement. Of course, AP would know that. Of course, the Dodgers. Well, he wasn't around yet, but the Dodgers would not be officially called the Dodgers until the 1930s. However, the name Dodgers came from trolley Dodgers, because again, as AP would know from his history of Brooklyn. that you literally had to dodge the trolleys to get to Ebbets Field. You had to work to get there. You certainly did. So, but great drama, great everything. I mean, I'm sure just reams and reams and reams of paper, um, more than we could ever possibly imagine, have been written about this team and about this ballpark. Peter Golenbach's Bums is a great book. So many great books about Ebbets Field. So many great stories about Ebbets Field. And even though I'm a Pirate fan first, for historical teams, I love the Brooklyn Dodgers. Love them. The LA Dodgers, not really so much. They're okay, but I love the Brooklyn Dodgers. Would have loved to have been there to listen to Hilda Chester and her cowbell, and the Dodger Symphony Band, and seeing if anybody could hit the Abe Stark sign. My understanding is you had to hit it on a fly to win a suit too, and where that Abe Stark sign is situated there, it's kind of hard to do. I mean, that's like a wicked line drive to hit that thing. So interesting story quickly about this ballpark. I've mentioned this in the channel before, but I think it's a story that always bears repeating. So for decades and decades, people in Brooklyn had maligned Walter O'Malley as being, the criminal to move the Dodgers west, when in fact that's not entirely accurate. Um, it was actually Robert Moses, who was a city commissioner with the city of New York. So Ebbets Field, and again, if we change, I think you can see enough here behind the scoreboard. You notice that if you have Mike's mod, or if you could just see pictures of Ebbets Field. So out here, I mean, when it's first built, the bleachers were low. It wasn't this big sort of, three-decker park or anything like that. So it literally did take up one city block, and so they had to keep building up, 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 and up. So as I said, it opened in 1913. Um, considered one of the first modern ballparks. The two first, of course, are Shibe and Forbes, that opened in 1909, and then Fenway, and then Wrigley. Wrigley, and in fact, this is 1 year older than Wrigley Field. But there was nothing else that they could do. They couldn't expand the ballpark in any way. So Walter O'Malley had another place in Flatbush picked out where they could have expanded the ballpark, would have even offered a modicum of parking. So as you guys know, in these old ballparks, you didn't drive your car to see a ball game. You walked, you took the subway, you took the trolley in the case of Brooklyn. And Moses wouldn't let him do it. He said, "No, you build in Queens." And O'Malley said, "No, this is the Brooklyn Dodgers." In the meantime, the Los Angeles City Council, getting wind of all of this, are wooing O'Malley. O'Malley could get nowhere with Moses, and moved him west. O'Malley, I think ill-treated Branch Rickey, but that really had no direct bearing. By this time, Branch Rickey had gone with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Um, but yeah, so Robert Moses really deserves, I think, more of the anger, the vitriol, if you will, and why the Brooklyn Dodgers moved west. And of course, the Giants following them pretty quickly, transplanting that long time rivalry. All right, enough of the history. Let's get back into the game. Here's Pee Wee Reese, 1-for-1. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Toronto leading 2-1. A 1 pitch on the way. And Pee Wee Reese smokes this one to right field. Base hit for Pee Wee, and he will hold at first. Yep, and so AP telling us Robert Moses to blame. Moses wanted a stadium built in Queens. O'Malley wanted a dome stadium not far from Ebbets Field. And yeah, and if you look at the design of that stadium for that time, it was so Dodger, Brook or Ebbets Field having that old time charm, but this was a very modern looking ballpark that had kind of a geodesic dome structure to it. So O'Malley was a visionary. Um, Alas, alas, alas. And of course, the cool thing about Brooklyn, all the other teams back then, the 15 other teams, were all city-named teams, except the Brooklyn Dodgers. Brooklyn kind of swallowed up by New York, and at one time Brooklyn was a city. I think before 1894 or 1895. I don't know the exact date. Brooklyn was its own city, but constantly then living in the shadows, of course, that skyline of Manhattan. And many people had said that it was kind of like, this was the thing that Brooklyn had. And I told you guys before I got to, talk baseball with Joe Paterno quite a few times when I worked at Penn State. I used to walk past Joe Paterno's house in the nice days when I could walk to work. And Joe Paterno, first and foremost, was a baseball fan and a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. And he talked with me a bit about the importance of the Brooklyn Dodgers to the borough. So just amazing stuff. All right, moving on. Check your email. So yeah, I sent it to you, Philip, a few days ago. Yep. So he's from Brooklyn, was from Brooklyn, may his memory be eternal, and was there April 15th, 1947, VL, when Jackie Robinson took the field. And Joe Paterno said that that was, in his estimation, the proudest day in sports, not just baseball, sports. So, yeah. So yeah, and I did my undergraduate work at Penn State. Joe Pa was awesome. Got screwed over by the NCAA. They've since, yeah, reinstituted his wins and stuff like that. But Joe and Sue Paterno put Penn State on the map. It's a great school. It's a public Ivy, but the money that Joe and Sue put into the libraries, and Paterno didn't mess around. My understanding is for a lot of college football teams, football players had to maintain only a 2.0 GPA out of 4.0. With Joe Paterno, you had to maintain a 3.0. And a rather famous wrestler was kicked off of Penn State's football team, Lex Luger. I don't know what his real name was, but he played football. But Joe Paterno, a graduate of Brown, so of course his focus always on academics, and he put up a lot of money for the expansions to Petit Library, to the Paterno Library. And great guy. Great guy he was. One of the most down to earth people you ever meet. A true Brooklyn Goomba. Hey. All right, speaking of which, here's Roy Campanella. 2-2 pitch on the way to Campy. And Campanella says this one deep to center field. And Devon White makes a great catch. So Campanella gives it a long ride, but it is just that. So one away now for the Duke of Flatbush. Count full. Snyder walked his last time up. This one driven out to left field, backpedaling just a little bit is Ricky Henderson, and he pulls it in. So two away now. Juan Guzman to face the Reading Rifle with Pee Wee Reese on at first. Furillo, 1-for-1 in the game. Slow tapper to short, and Fernandez is going to go to second and gets the lead runner to retire the side. So the Dodgers get a hit. They do not score. We head to the top of the fourth inning. Toronto leads Brooklyn 2-1. Thanks, guys, for spending part of your Easter with me. I'm not spending with anybody, so I thought I'd spend it with baseball and hope that a few people would at least stop in and say hello. Yeah, he was strict. He was very strict. Was Joe, but also such a good guy. And didn't, he never ever asked any favors or any sort of special accommodation for his players. And I admire that because, at the front of Petit Library at Penn State, I did my graduate work elsewhere because there's a term called academic incest, or I would have at least done my master's too at Penn State, but it was always preferable to go elsewhere. But anyhow, on the front of Petit Library, it says the true university is a collection of books, and Paterno really he lived that. And again, the The money that Joe and Sue Paterno put in as matching funds for Paterno Library, and it cannot be. There's just not enough superlatives for both Joe Paterno and Sue. Just amazing people. All right, Ricky Henderson will lead off. We'll see the 4-5-6 here for the Toronto Blue Jays of 1993. Ricky Henderson, Joe Carter, and Devon White. Johnny Padres is fan 6, walked 1. And here is the 1-2 pitch. Ricky with a 2-run shot back in the first. And Henderson, that breaking ball catching the outside corner. Beautiful pitch by Johnny Padres. And notch K number 7 for him as Joe Carter at the plate now. Nothing for 1 for Carter. 0-2 pitch. Carter looks at called strike 3. Wow. So living on the corners is Johnny Padres. That is strikeout number 8. So Padres doing a great job here, keeping Toronto quiet, all scoring by both teams done back in the first inning. Toronto posting 2, Brooklyn posting 1, and that is it. All right, Devon White 1 for 1 in the game. Doubled back in the second. And he swings, and this is just going to be a grounder to second base, and fielded by Joe Gilliam for the 4-3 putout. No runs, no hits, no errors, and of course nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 2-1, and here's Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges, who had some novenas said for him and a lot of prayers, and broke out of a terrible, terrible batting slump during the 1952 season. On a very hot day, a priest asked his congregation to go home, say prayers for Gil Hodges, and that afternoon Hodges broke out big time out of that batting slump. Actually, it was 1953, so correction. Batting slump started in 52, went into 53, so. Anyhow, took too long to get this man into the Hall of Fame. 0 for 1 in the game. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Guzman. And Hodges swings and misses. And that time, little sinker there by Juan Guzman to pick up his 4th K. So you grew up in Lewisburg. I know where Lewisburg is. A lot of mafia guys there in a special compound in Lewisburg, or at least there was. So you're a Philly guy. All right. And I did a lot of my work as a magician and magic demonstrator in the other big city in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. Hence being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. D. Scott Howard, Christos Aneste, Christos Voskrese, happy Easter to you, my friend. All right, here's Sandy Amoros now. He is nothing for 1 with 1 down. Jim Gilliam waits on deck. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Amoros swings and tags this one to right field. Not deep enough, short of the track. Joe Carter reels it in for out number 2. All right, here's Jim Gilliam. He has a hit in this game. Brooklyn with 4 hits overall. 2-1 the count. Gilliam swings, 2-hopper to second base. And just a little nice double pump there by Robbie Alomar. 3 up, 3 down. Go the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers. We head to the top of the 5th. The 1993 Jays 2, and the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers 1. Nathaniel wishing everybody happy Easter. Yep. Mafia guys always at UPS Lewisburg. Yes, Bucknell, where the great Christy Mathewson was a multi-star sport. Back when it was called Bucknell College, but a great, great school. Beautiful. And, of course, none of the undergrads there probably know Christy Mathewson Stadium, for whom it's named. So they probably don't know who that is. But, yeah, Bucknell, what a school. And Christy Mathewson in that inaugural class of the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. Of course, the Hall of Fame doesn't open until 1939, but yeah, Bucknell. So Lewisburg, you can either improve yourself with books or hang out with Salvatore and everybody else there. And I can joke, I'm half Italian, so all right. Padres deals. Here's the 0-1 to Ed Sprague, and Sprague's going to gap this one into center field. Gets down for a base hit. Sprague going for 2, And there we go. Extra base hit to lead off the visitors' half of the fifth for Toronto. All right, a double. Not a lot of speed for Sprague, but that ball hit deeply enough. Duke Snider, um, by the time he gets to the ball, Sprague is almost at second. All right, here's Pat Borders. So by today's standards, of course, a light hitting catcher, just 9 home runs, 55 ribbies for him. 0 for 1 on the day, 1-0 pitch. Border swings, and just as I say, light hitting catcher, skies one out to center field. Duke Snider backpedals and grabs it for out number one. Ed Sprague remains at second for the pitcher, Juan Guzman. Full count on Guzman. Padres ready to deal. And on the outside corner, fastball, and that's the 9th strikeout for Johnny Padres. And here's Robbie Alomar, nothing for 2. And this one is a pass ball. Campanella charges back to get it, and Ed Sprague will move to third. So Toronto with a chance here to pad their lead with Ed Sprague just 90 feet away. So VL says he's going to wait till Out of Park goes on sale. He also says after growing up in Lewisburg all those years, and I have no idea. Hang on a second here, having some. There we go. He says after growing up in Lewisburg all those years, finally went back to find his grave at the Lewisburg Cemetery in 2016. So you left when you were in 1993. Okay. I'll tell you what. VL, it's a great game, and I mean, it's a steal at full price, but yeah, it does go on sale a few times a year. Probably the next time it goes on sale is going to be around the All-Star break, and you'll probably be able to pick it up for like $25.99, and it's worth it. All right. I mean, I guess if you're mainly a cards and dice player, maybe not so much. But if you're a digital player, this game's king. It really is. And that's saying a lot considering how excellent Action PC is and Digital Diamond Baseball and Diamond Mind, other ones out there. Of course, Baseball for Windows. All right. So here's Robbie Alomar, count full. And Padres loses Alomar, so curveball misses low. And runners at the corners now. Brings up Tony Fernandez, who is nothing for 2. Opportunity here for the Jays to pull ahead. From the stretch, Johnny Padres works. 2-2 pitch. And this one is a wild pitch. Gets away from Campanella. So a pass ball and a wild pitch bite the Brooklyn Dodgers. And it is now 3-1 Toronto, and that hurts. Again, there's no tomorrow in this tournament. All right, Fernandez back in the box. Count full. Fernandez swings, grounder to short, and this one just a bit too late. 6-3 putout will retire the side, but thanks to a pass ball and a wild pitch, the Blue Jays pick up another and lead the Dodgers 3-1 as we go to the home half of the 5th inning. Asking if he was in witness protection. Oh my God. So, boy, stories I could tell, D. Scott, but not on YouTube. But anyhow, all right. So Johnny Padres' day is done. Frank Keller will come on now to pinch hit in the 9th spot, and then we swing around to Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese. Frank Keller, with 80 at bats in 1955 for the Bums. 4 home runs, 19 ribbies, and a .325 average for him. Guzman, 4 strikeouts, and a walk through 4 innings of work. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Frank Kellert. Kellert swings and drives this wicked ball into left field, and that's going to get down for a base hit. Kellert thought about second, and he will hold as Ricky Henderson gets that ball quickly into the cutoff man. All right, here's Jackie Robinson. Flatbush faithful looking for Jackie to do something here. He is 0 for 2. Jackie with 8 home runs in 1955. 1-2 pitch on the way to Jackie. Strike 3. Oh, Jackie. So Juan Guzman picks up strikeout number 5, 1 down. And I know people are going to raise their eyebrows, but here's Don Newcomb to pinch hit So Don Newcomb, much like Bob Lemon, and he was an excellent, excellent hitting pitcher. And Don Newcomb would be used in a pitch hitting role. And when you got a guy like that, right, considering where this is going, you could leave Kellert in the game and Newcomb to pitch. So we'll see what happens. Don Newcomb, in 117 at bats in 1955, had a 359 average, 7 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Oh my goodness, yeah. So, uh, talking about, so VL says, but his great uncle, Blinky Palermo, who was Cosa Nostra, was in USP Lewisburg. He was major in boxing history. Sonny Liston's quote unquote manager. I'm pretty sure he told Liston to take a dive against Ali in the second fight, the infamous pick, where Ali is standing over Liston. That's what you're talking about. And yeah, you're right, AP. Don Newcomb was a good hitter. So Brooklyn had that kind of advantage, as did the 1948 Indians with Bob Lemon. 2-2 pitch on the way to Newcomb, and Nuke swings and misses after all of that. He gets suckered by the changeup, and Juan Guzman now has fan 6. All right, here's Roy Campanella, 0-for-2. Big bat's quiet here. Campanella, and there goes the runner. I forgot all about Frank Kellert, but he gets in there, and he is safe. So Dodgers trying to make something happen here now. Potential second run in scoring position, and Roy Campanella, of course, the tying run. And a swing of the bat, that could happen. 1-0 pitch on the way. Campanella swings, this one driven to right. And right in front of the Abe Stark sign, Joe Carter makes the grab. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left in scoring position. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Toronto leads Brooklyn 3-1 in this ball game. Clinton says that the Ali Liston fight, 40 miles from where I live now. Oh, so oh my goodness gracious. So, man, that was the Philadelphia Mafia. Man, everybody talks about the 5 families, but the Philadelphia mob, woo. Of course, you had Angelo Bruno, the Gentle Don. Then you had Nicky Scarfo, just the complete opposite of Bruno. Oof. Philly mob's tough, and of course, then you have the Cavalcantes just across there in Jersey, and yeah, tough, tough, tough. But I will say this: as much as I'm not a big fan, you know what? When the mob ran Vegas, you could walk off the strip and go anywhere in Vegas at night. You were safe. And when the mob lost control of Vegas and allowed all the Crips and Bloods and all the other things to move in, those trash street gangs. Shame, shame. All right, we have defensive change here to talk about. Don Zimmer will now come in to play short, and Carl Erskine will come in to pitch. So Brooklyn knowing what's on the line here. Erskine 11-8. Oisk, he was called, by the way, his nickname. 11 wins, 8 losses in 1955. Had 64 walks, 84 strikeouts, and a 3.79 earned run average. He will face the 3-4-5 hitters John Olerud, Ricky Henderson, and Joe Carter. 3-0 pitch on the way now to Oisk. And this one misses inside. And John Olerud draws the walk, and the Brooklyn faithful, sensing maybe a little bit of malaise in the air, is Ricky Henderson in there. Henderson with a 2-run homer in this game back in the first inning. The pitch, Ricky swings in the first pitch, grounder to third, up with it quickly, Robinson, and this will be a 5-4-3 double play. So big boost there for Oisk as Joe Carter steps in now, who's 0-for-2. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. Carter swings and drills the sinking liner out to right field. The Reading Rifle pulls it in. No runs, no hits, nobody left on thanks to that double play. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Dodgers need to get to work here as they are down 3-1. VO telling us that Oisk just died last year. May his memory be eternal. So D. Scott Howard says that he's pretty sure Clint is in the witness protection program up there in Maine. Love it. Joey Merlino just opened his cheesesteak shop. So, Lewiston, Maine. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, so the New England mob too. Really, the only place that are kind of weak, sort of, is the L.A. families. And in fact, that's kind of told you I've been watching Sons of Anarchy again, and definitely you see that the mob in Sons of Anarchy, very minor player. The West Coast mob really was never that. Yeah, they were kind of the whipping boys, I guess, out there. Cleveland, until Danny Green raised all kinds of hell, had a big presence of organized crime in Cleveland, of course, but kind of seems once you get past Chicago and St. Louis, there was kind of nothing. But very strong on this side, and you look at the again in Philadelphia, Jersey, you had Raymond Patriarcha up in New England, and of course his continuing war with the Southies in Boston, trying to wrest control of New England territory, all answerable to the five families. But I believe Patriarch actually sat on the commission, pretty sure, as did, of course, the members of the outfit in Chicago, Giancana and company. All right, anyhow, can you guys tell I love not only American Mafia, Cosa Nostra, but also the Sicilian Mafia. I just found a great book that is all about the Sicilian Mafia. And these guys are bad news, baby. Plus some of the other, the Camorra, the Drangheta, which are probably the most bloodthirsty. But it's interesting. The those because the book really examines kind of the differences between the Sicilians and what's going on in or what went on in America. All right, and got a little ding, and it's probably just my phone saying I don't know, another bill. One went off today. It was like 7:40 a.m. and it was like, hey, just somebody wishing me a happy Easter. Just 1 second, guys. I just want to answer this text. Da, da, da. And we'll get back to lately in our baseball broadcast. We talk a lot about organized crime, and I think it's funny, and I love it. Oh my goodness. Ugh. All right. Every time you see a copter, I think of that scene in Goodfellas. Oh my God, I know, right? And D. Scott says that Henry Hill was actually in witness protection in Seattle, in a Seattle suburb, while he was living there. Pretty cool. All right, happy Easter, VL. Enjoy the Phillies, man. Enjoy the Phillies. All right, and we will continue here. All right, back to the ball game here. And I understand people drop off. This is a holiday again. I'm spending it on my own, so it's probably going to be a bit of a baseball marathon today. But guys, just you coming in saying hi really means a lot. Thank you. All right, here we go. 3-1 pitch on the way to Duke Snider, and Snider clubs this one out to left. Will it be enough? It will. Duke Snyder gets one back. And Brooklyn now within a run. The Duke of Flatbush, 362 feet. 362 feet. Yes, sir, baby. All right, let's have a look at that one again. So this one 92 off the bat, and I would say that Mr. Snyder leaping attempt there out in left field by Ricky Henderson, but touch them all. Duke Snyder and Brooklyn not going gently into that good night as Tony Castillo will come on now, southpaw for these 93 Jays, a 3-2 record for Toronto, 28 strikeouts for him and a 3.38 earned run average. And the Reading rifle in there now. The 1-1 pitch on the way. 1 for 2 with a single, Carl Furillo. And this one hopper down to third base, staying with that ball and corralling it is Ed Sprague. So one away here in the bottom of the sixth for Flatbush favorite Gil Hodges. 2-1 pitch to Hodges. Hodges swings, and this one routine ground ball to Fernandez at short, ranging to his left, and fires on to first. Score that one 6-3, 2 away, 1 in for Brooklyn. Brings up Sandy Moros. Clinton Park says, VL, Ken Castro, both Phillies fans. Your Sox are on an hour. Oh, I know. I'm going to be losing. That's why I'm probably going to be going to Ernie Harwell here in a little while, because I know most folks are going to be watching ball games, but at least I'll have some baseball to listen to while I'm doing some other stuff. So, all right. 3-1 pitch to Sandy Amoros, and this one way inside. So Castillo giving up the Tony Castillo giving up the walk, and here's Jim Gilliam. He's a 1 for 2. And the 1-2 pitch, and Gilliam lines this one down the line. Extra bases in the corner for Jim Gilliam. Will this score the tying run for Brooklyn? Coming around third, and there won't even be a throw home. How about, well, the throw home late. RBI double by Jim Gilliam, and Sandy Amoros scores, and the Brooklyn Dodgers make it a whole new ball game here in the bottom of the sixth. The Malays lifted from Ebbets Field, and it is 3-3. All right. Lucky me? Meh. Not really. Going through kind of right now. So, sorry. So, that's right. Oh, nice. You're celebrating tomorrow. There you go. Talking about all the candy goes on sale for half price. How about it? How about it? So this year, Western, Eastern Pascha fall on the same Sunday. That happens every so often. No sales for the Orthodox this year, as we and the Catholics and the Protestants are all celebrating together, which is okay. So we'll call you Junior. So the lucky you going on to D. Scott Howard. All right. All right, here is Popeye. So Don Zimmer, 239 average in 1955 with the Dodgers. 15 homers, 50 runs batted in. The Dodgers coming back big time. It's 3-3. Jim Gilliam in scoring position. 2-2 pitch.
Strike 3.
And Don Zimmer frozen by that one in at the knees. Fastball. But the Brooklyn Dodgers, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors. They do strand a runner. We go to the top of the 7th. This is probably, this one, I think the Minnesota game was really good too. So, but this one's shaping up to be even better. Let's see. Devon White, Ed Sprague, and Pat Borders do up. Oysk stays into work. Count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Devon White. Here's the pitch. And White swings. This one will get down. Oh, no. Yes, it will. We'll get down for extra bases. Oh, and here we go again. So Devon White with a leadoff double and superb speed. And Carl Erskine, I would say, has his work cut out for him. Nobody out. Runner in scoring position 3-3 here in the top of the seventh at Ebbets Field as darkness descends. 2-2 pitch on the way from Ed Sprague. Doubled his last time up. This will get down for a base hit. Little Texas leaguer job. And they're going to hold Devon White at third. Not deep enough there. Carl Furillo with an excellent arm in right field. And here's Pat Borders now. He is nothing for two. Erskine in trouble here. Runners at first and third. And again, this is just a one-game series for each of the pairings in every round of this tournament. So for one of these teams, no tomorrow. From the stretch and the 2-1 pitch, Border swings, and they're going to come home. The throw is offline. Throw is offline. Zimmer rushes his throw at home. Border safe. White scores, and the Toronto Blue Jays reclaim the lead here in the top of the seventh. It is 4-3. All right, and Turner Ward now. Turner Ward, 192 average in 1993. Did manage 4 homers, 28 RBI. All right, Ed Sprague at second, Pat Borders at first. Unfortunate play there by Don Zimmer. Let's have a look at that one again. So Zimmer gets over to his left, but then rushes his throw. By the time Campanella has it, Devon White is already home and 3/4 of the way to the dugout. All right. One thing I want Out of the Park Baseball to add is a slow motion replay. They have that in MLB The Show, and it's so cool to look at. And I think it would be easy to do. So hopefully they will think about that in the future. All right. Here we go. And Ward, little seeing eye single up the middle, and this could seal it for the Dodgers. As Sprague will score RBI single for Turner Ward, and it's now 5-3 Toronto, and nobody out and 2 on for Robbie Alomar back at the top of the order. Robbie Alomar, nothing for 2, the count full. Alomar looks at ball 4, and they got to think about getting Carl Erskine out of there. Tony Fernandez, nothing for 3. The bases are jammed, sold out. Ducks on the pond for Toronto. Here's the pitch, and this was swung on, high fly ball right field, and making the catch out there is Carl Furillo. Tagging at third and coming home to score is Pat Borders. 6-3 now, Toronto pulling away. So Brooklyn tying it back in the bottom of the sixth, but then Toronto saying, hang on, 6-3 now, plating 3 here in the seventh. Runners at the corners, 1 away. And John Olerud now at the plate. He is 0 for 1. Count full, and Olerud clubs this deep to center field. Will this be enough? Oh my God, just over. Duke Snider makes the leaping grab, but the ball ends about 2 rows back. And oh my God, the Blue Jays now with a 9-3 lead. John Olerud absolutely, well, he gets enough of it. But in the Toronto papers tomorrow, that is going to read like a Mickey Mantle shot off the facade of Yankee Stadium. I think he's the only, I'm told that Mickey Mantle hit the longest or hardest home run ever in Yankee Stadium. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Yankee fans. Let's look at this one again. So Olerud sends this out into the Gloman. Snider with the leap, but no, just gets over the fence. 9-3. I don't want to quick play this game, though, because it's baseball, baby. Wow, says Nathaniel. How about it? All right. And now an eerie quiet descends upon the field as this rookie, still pretty much a rookie, strides out to the bump. Not yet known as the left arm of God, Sandy Koufax. 2 wins, 2 losses, a 3.02 earned run average, 30 strikeouts, and 28 walks. We are a little ways yet from the dominance that would become Sandy Koufax. But so cool to see Sandy out there facing Ricky Henderson with 1 out, 9-3 your score, and full count on Ricky Henderson. Henderson swings and sinking liner to right. Carl Furillo has it for out number 2. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so former Pittsburgh Pirate Darnell Coles in there now. What the hell, Darnell? 4 home runs, 26 ribbies, a 253 average for him in 1993. And here's the pitch. Coles swinging the first pitch. 1 hopper to first. And Gil Hodges on the short hop will take it to the bag himself. 7th inning stretch time. Toronto 9, Brooklyn 3. As Bart Lowe joins. Hey, happy Easter. Christos Aneste to you. Been a while since we've seen you, Bart. Good to see you, man. Little Easter baseball today. Sergeant Beatles' Lonely Hearts Club Band. Yeah, as Clinton Park says, games like this are going to happen. You just can't fast play them in Cards and Dice World unless it's Digital Diamond. And because this is a tournament thing, and it's just, I love the Brooklyn Dodgers so much. I suppose if I was older, um, even though the I probably, maybe the Brooklyn Dodgers would have been my favorite team. Even if I had, even if hadn't grown up in the borough of Brooklyn, I love their history. But as it is, they are my favorite sort of. D. Scott Howard, don't take this the wrong way. I call them an extinct franchise, only because to me the sort of the Brooklyn Dodgers and LA Dodgers are really for me 2 different franchises, and I know that's very bad baseball history, and more than a healthy dose of subjectivity. Looks like Mark Eichhorn is just going to get some innings here. Scoring summary for you guys. So Toronto jumped out with 2 runs in the first, thanks to a 2-run bomb by Ricky Henderson. Brooklyn got one back in the bottom of the first. It was 2-1 until we got to the 5th. Toronto tacked on another one to make it 3-1, and then Brooklyn tied it up in the bottom of the 6th, and then Toronto just absolutely went nuclear and put 6 on in the top of the 7th. All right, top of the order, Jackie Robinson, and we'll see. I'm sure they're going to pinch hit for Sandy Koufax, and then Roy Campanella. All right, Eichhorn deals full count. Of course, they may allow Koufax to bunt. We'll see. If Jackie gets on, fly ball center field, too much height, not enough distance, and at the track, Devon White will track it down. And yep, so George Shuba will 51 at bats in 1955 for George, a home run, 8 runs batted in, 275 average. Stadium features the new live scoreboard. So I don't have that. I don't know that this one does, but yeah. So Mike Silva, that's awesome, and let's give some love for Out of the Park Baseball for making that a thing. But does this one have that? I didn't even notice. No, it does not. This one does not. I have to re-download them or reinstall them because I don't have Mike's new parks, the new West. Just a soft pop up there to Fernandez at short, so 2 down. So for me, D. Scott, I like the live scoreboards for the new parks and for modern parks, but I think if I'm playing a game, you know, prior to those, what would be fun would be like the sort of dot matrix looking scoreboards that you would have seen like in Three River Stadium, and a lot of the ballparks in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, right? But for these old ballparks, I don't think I'm gonna have to just download. I think ballparks kind of sparingly because I don't want those in these old ballparks. It is a nice touch, but I think it kind of takes away for me. But yeah, I like Silva. What a guy. showing how to include these and add them to his great parks. This is probably the greatest mod in any baseball game. This and his uniform mod, which doesn't get enough love. But yeah. Okay, so I'll have to see. I did not see it. How about it? Um, I have to look. Wow. Let me see what happens here. All right, here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on, and Campanella grounds this to third. And I almost do want to mercy play this, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We go to the top of the 8th inning, and it is deadly quiet here now in Ebbets Field. A lot of already left for the exits. The symphony band have packed up. Hilda Chester putting her cowbell away. And Devon White will lead things off, followed by Ed Sprague and Pat Borders. All right, 3-1. Jim Hughes now pitching for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he's behind 3-1, and he will lose Devon White. All right, so about 3,000 left here in Ebbets, used to the heartbreak. And here's Ed Sprague. He is 2 for 3 on the day, the 0-1 pitch. And this one is going to be a wild pitch. So 2 wild pitches and a pass ball in this game for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And in the inning where they did have that was back in the 5th, the wild pitch, or pass ball, then a wild pitch led to that run scoring in the 5th. Looking at Jim Hughes, 0-2 in 1955, by the way, with 20 strikeouts and a 4.22 average. So not a lot the Dodgers can do at this point. Down 6. Swung on here by Ed Sprague, and this one grounded down to third base, and that will be out number 1. Devon White stays at second, and here's Pat Borders. Pat Borders 0 for 3 with an RBI. And here's the throw down to third. They're not going to get Devon White, not even a chance. Good, strong throw by Campanella, but Devon White taking advantage of Jim Hughes not really paying attention back there. Some people would argue with a 6-run lead, why would you steal? But there you go. All right. 1-2 pitch now to Pat Borders. Border swings, grounder to third, and up with that one is Jackie Robinson, and he will fire to Gil Hodges for first, to first, but on the play, Devon White scores 10-3, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. We'll see Duke Snyder, Carl Furillo, and Gil Hodges, and of course Brooklyn will also get their last ups. These blowouts last forever. Turner Ward in here. Hit an RBI single last time up, and he's going to take off the plate. Jim Hughes, what can you say? Robbie Alomar, we're going to start speeding up the call of this game. 2-1 pitch, and the snap throw down to first. And Campanella, good heads-up play, but Turner Ward back safely. All right, count, full. And the runner goes, and this one will be taken by Gil Hodges, 3 unassisted. So one more run in for the 1993 Blue Jays. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Brooklyn will send up the Duke of Flatbush, the Reading Rifle, and Gil Hodges, who I'm sure has a nickname. I just don't know what it is. Nope, doesn't have one. So there we go. All right. Duke of Flatbush with a home run in this game. 1-1 pitch on the way. Snyder swings, high fly ball to deep center field, and at the wall, Devon White. So that was good muscle there by Duke Snyder, sending that changeup out to deep center. But loud out, here's the Reading Rifle. 1 for 3, RBI for him. 1-2 pitch. Bounced out last time up, and he's going to put a little Texas leaguer job there into left field. Kind of a Texas liner, we'll put it that way. All right, Furillo on for Gil Hodges. Quiet bat, nothing for 3. 0-2 pitch. Hodges swings, fly ball, right field, ranging in, angling, and making the catch is Turner Ward. So 2 down, no place for Carl Furillo to go, and here's Sandy Amoros, nothing for 2. 0-2 pitch. Amoros swings, grounder to second, and little hesitation there by Robbie Alomar, but they do get Sandy Amoros in the 4-3 inning ending play. No runs, a hit, no errors, a runner left on. We go to the ninth here at Ebbets Field. What was an exciting nail biter now is just a yawner. 10-3 in favor of Toronto. And the 2-3-4 due up. Tony Fernandez, John Olerud, and Ricky Henderson. And here is the pitch. Fernandez flew out his last time up high, pop fly on the infield, and coming in and making the catch is Don Zimmer. John Olerud now. 1-2 pitch for Olerud on the way. Again, speeding this up. Olerud home run last time, strikeout this time. Nice fastball there by Jim Hughes. Picks up his first strikeout, and here's Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson responsible for 2 of these 10 Toronto runs. Full count on Ricky. May his memory be eternal. Henderson swings. High fly ball out there to right field, and Carl Furillo will take it in for out number 3. Toronto goes quietly. We go to the bottom of the ninth, and it'll be Jim Gilliam, Don Zimmer, and Jackie Robinson. Gilliam 2 for 3 with an RBI. 1-2 pitch. And Mark Eichhorn strikes him out. So no real suspense here. Why even try to build it? Toronto 2 outs away from moving on. Don Zimmer will hit for himself. Struck out his last time up. Popeye strikes out. So that went on a changeup there by Mark Eichhorn. And back at the top of the order, and Jackie Robinson. Count full on Jackie. Here is the pitch. Robinson swings, base hit, right field. So it ain't over yet, but the fat lady warming up her pipes. All right, Don Hoke now. We got a pinch hitter. So Hoke, 5 homers, 19 ribbies, 1955, a 240 average. 1-1 the count. And this one is going to be a wild pitch. So strange things here in this game going on. Jackie Robinson moves to second. Don Hoke back in the box wearing his Pirates livery. Full count to Don Hoke. That's the ball game, called strike 3. And boy, that was one of those things where, 2/3 of the ball game was really good. Blue Jays moved to round 2. We don't read the recap on tournaments because they're boring. Anyhow, the Blue Jays, 10 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers, 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. Let me see here. Tony Castillo gets the win. He also gets the blown save. And then Mark Eichhorn gets the save. Carl Erskine takes the loss. Your player of the game, deservedly so, John Olerud. So, wow. Let's look at the matchup. So as we keep moving on, 1976 Reds move ahead after they defeated the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. The 1929 Philadelphia Athletics dispatched the 2001 Mariners to move ahead. The 1927 Yankees. In a much closer game, Ruth and Gehrig really quiet in that one. But the 27 Yankees beating the 2001 D-backs to move ahead. The 1948 Cleveland Indians defeated the 94 Expos, so they move on. You just saw what Toronto did. 1986 Mets over the 1957 Milwaukee Braves. The 1998 Astros over the 1942 St. Louis Cardinals. And the other was a really good game, the 1982 Brewers over the 1965 Minnesota Twins. So we still got some games coming up. The 2015 Royals against the 1902 Pittsburgh Pirates still to come. We got the 2008 Rockies against the 1917 White Sox. Tampa Bay Rays, can't remember what year they are right now, against the 1912 Red Sox, I'm sorry. We've got the Phillies, 2008, 2009, one of those, whatever, against the 1906 Chicago Cubs. Marlins and Browns. So the St. Louis Browns, we decided, needed to be in here just because that 1922 St. Louis Browns team was so great. We also have Angels, Washington. We got Padres, Tigers. So a little ways to go. Rangers, Giants. So moving on, guys. I'm going to continue to do some baseball. Do not feel compelled, whatever, to hang around. I do appreciate, however, we talk, I mean, for Easter Sunday, not too bad, man. We topped out at 12 today, so I want to thank you. And I'm going to just continue. I'm going to try to stay away from dead ball teams because Ken Castro's not here. So I think we're going to go Marlins and Browns. Will be next. So there will be, I think, some more baseball tonight, and probably after this game, I'm going to let Ernie run a couple games. We'll see. All right. So indeed, yeah, it would be the 2015 Royals against the 1902 Pirates, but we're not going to do that one just yet. Not yet. All right. Is this the one I'm looking for? It is indeed. So the 2003 for Florida Marlins will lock up against the 1922 St. Louis Browns. So the 1922 Browns finished just a game behind the New York Yankees. And there's a great documentary on the St. Louis Browns, and this was a strong, strong team. Anchoring down at first base, one of the greatest players of all time, and not just my opinion, the great George Sisler. Sisler hit 420 that year. But you had Ken Williams, 39 home runs. Williams could also steal some bases. Jack Tobin, good right fielder. Hank Severide in there. Baby Doll Jacobson, his nickname because of a popular song back in the 20s. Marty McManus. You have Pat Collins, who would go on to catch for those 1927 Yankees. Urban Shocker getting a start today. Pretty fine pitcher. This 1922 St. Louis Browns squad, just absolutely amazing. We're going to see Luis Castillo again. Nothing wrong with some doppelgangers and something like this. Pudge over there. So let's get to it. Have I done a 1919? Yes, I did one back in 2017. Nathaniel, and I did an out of the park 18. And the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series. It was kind of cool. They actually, I mean, it wasn't like just good straight. It was a good tight series, but the Cincinnati Reds. A lot of Cincinnati people get upset at me, but I think in the real World Series, they did not legitimately win that World Series. But nonetheless, the White Sox cheated themselves out of it. But yeah, but except for the World Series, Nathaniel, even back then, so out of the park 18, there is a way. I have to show you guys sometime how you can track your season replays in this game. I have to do that because this game gets a bad rap for not being quote unquote accurate. This is the only this that will track your replay against the actual season replay, and that the 1919 replay I did with this, maybe I should do another one because a lot of people are very fascinated by that baseball season for obvious reasons. It was really close. Everybody finished what they were supposed to, and the one win-loss records were pretty much in line. There were no anomalies. But out of the park, though, very easy to do dead ball baseball. So maybe I will do 1919 sometime. Who knows? Anyhow, guys, again, even though I'm doing baseball, if the place empties out, I am not going to be insulted. I just appreciate you guys coming in and saying hi today. It really means a lot to me. All right, Josh Beckett will face Urban Shocker. Josh Beckett, 9-8 in 2003 for the Swordfish. I don't know if a marlin is a swordfish, but I'm guessing it is because it looks like a swordfish. Being a vegetarian, I don't know these things. So Josh Beckett, 9 wins, 8 losses, a 3.04 earned run average. Urban Shocker went 24-17 for the Browns in 1922, the 2.97 earned run average. I don't know if there'd be any interest and me also replicating this tournament in digital diamond baseball. So I've got to ask Dwayne to see how I would set up a tournament in that, if that's even possible. And if so, you'll see this, and you're going to see this in Action PC and Pocket Pennant Run, but they are missing some components. So I'm loving this project. I think it's fun, and I'm also doing it because I want to kind of compare some things among these baseball simulations that I'm doing. And Pocket Pennant Run being the interesting one because even though I'm not physically rolling dice, it will be the only cards and dice type game that I'm using in this experiment, if you will. All right, let's go to the ballpark, baby. Mm-hmm. First, let's get to our opening lineups here. All right, so before we go to Sportsman's Park, let us look at the starting lineups for these teams. So for the 2003 Florida Marlins, leading off in center field, Juan Pierre. Batting second at second base, Luis Castillo. Batting third and catching, the second Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez. In the cleanup spot at first base, Derek Lee. Batting fifth in left field, Jeff Conine. Batting sixth in right field, Juan Encarnacion. Batting seventh at third base, Miguel Cabrera. So Miggy in the game. Batting eighth at short, A-Rod. Or no, I'm sorry, A-Gon. I'll call him A-Gon. I thought I was reading Alex Rodriguez there for a second. Wait, he's not a Marlin. So we'll call him A-Gon. Anyhow, Alex Gonzalez, and then pitching Josh Beckett. No DH in this league. All right. And there's been no real harm done to the American League in this, by the way, with pitchers not batting. So leading off, again, one of the greatest players of all time. And we may just feature him today. It'll be a long read, but why not? George Sisler. All right. Batting second at second base, Marty McManus. Batting third in right field, Jack Tobin. In the cleanup spot in left field, Ken Williams. Batting fifth, center fielder, Baby Doll Jacobson. Batting sixth and catching, Hank Severai. Batting seventh, another excellent player, shortstop, Wally Gerber. Batting eighth, third baseman, Frank Ellerby. And pitching and batting ninth, Urban Shocker. I mean, both lineups excellent. I think this is a good matchup. So here we go. At Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, it is partly cloudy and 66 degrees, and we have a crosswind blowing from the right pasture to the left pasture, 10 miles per hour. As Nathaniel says that 1919 is probably going to be his next project. Well, if that's the case, I'm not going to worry about doing it on here, Nathaniel. I'm just going to just follow your replay, and you can let me know what's going on in 1919. And I know you've been talking about wanting to start to broadcast some baseball. I hope you do. All right, it's the Marlins and the Browns. Let's go. Let's go, baby. And here we are. So, yeah, so D. Scott, who's probably left by now, I just realized something so Mike Silva, man, I love you even more and more, brother. So the live scoreboards are there. I was thinking that they were going to be with the like very modern, but no. If you look out here in left field, this is an old timey scoreboard, and Florida and the Browns. That's what it says, man. So pretty cool. I guess I do have these scoreboards after all. Sportsman's Park. I was talking, of course, gushing, waxing poetic about Ebbets Field. This is a ballpark I've always loved. Now, obviously, it's using modern Google Earth georeferencing here, so you'd have to ignore these buildings. Again, parks and out of the park baseball are georeferenced, so distances are real. But if you actually look at pictures of Sportsman's Park, just surrounded by trees, you had these wonderful kind of St. Louis pennants, and it's a very quirky ballpark too. This is another one I would have loved to have visited. So you're gonna wait for buying a mic. Had to buy new speakers. Gonna be a while, dude. You can get a mic, just a serviceable mic, for YouTube for like 10, $15, man. So, but I don't know your finances and everything like that, and I'm no rich man either, believe me. And of course, that being said, I bought a new PC 4 months ago, and I've had it on 4 times. So, you know, Nate, what I would suggest, and I always have it turned off, is I'm using actually just a portable USB Logitech webcam, built-in mic, and this thing was only like 20 bucks, and it's really nice, really, really nice. So you don't need a fancy mic, brother. Just want to hear you do some baseball. All right, here we go. Starting defense for the St. Louis Browns of 1922 in left field, Ken Williams, and center Baby Doll Jacobson, and right Jack Tobin. From first to third, George Sisler, who we will be highlighting. Even though he is a great Hall of Famer, I don't think that I don't think casual baseball fans know who the hell George Sisler is. Second base, Marty McManus. At short, Wally Gerber. And at third, Frank Ellerby. So the Browns very strong up the middle with Gerber and McManus. Catching is Hank Severide and Juan Pierre. We'll wait for Urban Shocker to finish his warm-up pitches as we do a pan around of Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, Missouri. Early version of Sportsman's, of course. All right, here we go. Juan Pierre, first pitch swinging, and this one fielded nicely there by George Sisler. Fires onto Urban Shocker for the 3-1 putout, and we are underway here as Luis Castillo steps in. 6 homers, 314 average for him in 2003. 1-1 pitch on the way from Urban Shocker. Castillo swings. This one driven hard into right field. This gets down for a base hit, and Castillo will hold it first as Ivan Rodriguez steps in. So Pudge with 16 home runs, 297 average for him. Urban Shocker peers in, has the sign from Hank Severide. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Grounder to second, and up with it quickly. Beautiful 4-6-3 double play initiated by Marty McManus. And inning over. So the Marlins get a hit, and that's it. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Florida nothing, and the Browns coming to bat. Starting defense for the 2003 Florida Marlins. In left field, Jeff Conine. In center, Juan Pierre. And in right, Juan Encarnacion. From first to third, we got Derek Lee, Luis Castillo, Alex Gonzalez, and Miguel Cabrera. Pudge behind the plate, and Josh Beckett on the mound. And leading it off here is the great George Sisler. Yeah, built them into the ballparks. So what happened was, the later parks have the Jumbotron. What I was afraid of is that there would be, I didn't think Mike would do this, but that there would be like this, looking here at Sportsman's Park in the 1920s, a Jumbotron would be really weird to see. So I didn't even realize that the ballpark there, and so thank you, D. Scott. So I guess when the game updated, it just updated these parks because I put these parks into Out of the Park 26 before Mike had them all finished. So Mike Silva, wherever the hell you are, happy Easter, Christos Aneste, and thank you for making these live ballparks a part of your just bloody wonderful, amazing, I would shine your shoes ballparks mod. Guys, Out of the Park is a great game, but without Mike's uniform mod, and certainly without this ballpark mod, oh my God, this elevates the game to just crazy, crazy, crazy heights. And it's got to be gratifying for Mike to see his ballparks being used in other games like Digital Diamond and Action PC. So, in fact, there's a way to use his ballparks in Digital Diamond baseball, or in Diamond Mine baseball. Believe it or not, I could actually use these parks in Diamond Mine baseball. How cool is that? So I might do that sometime. We'll surprise Mike. All right. Let's get to it. George Sisler, you know what? There's not going to be more than 7 folks in here. So, and I like to wait till there's a lot of people here. But I figured people are going to jump off anyhow, which is cool. And I know that the George Sisler read is going to be a bit longer. We are going to do it nonetheless. Before I do that, though, I want to make a book recommendation that has nothing to do with this St. Louis Browns Florida Marlins game. So we're going to do double reading today. First, and I wish Ken Castro was here because I think he would appreciate it. And maybe, hopefully, if YouTube doesn't ding me, I'm going to do this. So, what I have two books in my lap. First, the Biographical Encyclopedia of Baseball, but the other one is the Annotated Baseball Stories of Ring W. Lardner, 1914 to 1919. So, Ring Lardner, fantastic, fantastic baseball writer, and there is some sort of relation to our chat here, at least, because Nathaniel, and as Clinton rolling one up, he says he's working game two of a Detroit Chicago game, waiting for his Boston Red Sox to play today. Ring Lardner became disenchanted with baseball after the Black Sox scandal, but a gifted writer and best known for the sort of serial weekly called You Know Me, Al. And so this is a great book, annotated. Pick this up for practically nothing on eBay. What do I keep telling you guys about getting baseball books on eBay? This is a big book, baby. Big book, and some of the most entertaining baseball reading ever. You got to get it. So again, it's called The Annotated Baseball Stories of Ring W. Lardner. This is a hardback. I think I picked it up for like $6 or something. So these are the Jack Keefe stories, again, known as You Know Me, Al. So the book weighs in at about 630 pages. So good stuff. Again, the writing, sort of, it does reflect the times, obviously, in which it was written. Ring Lardner was a very had a great perspective in the game, very incisive, insightful writer. And what's neat about the annotations, even though Jack Keefe, the protagonist, is fictional, you meet and hear mentions or read mentions of some of the greatest stars of that period between 1914 and 1919. And Lardner even went so far as using actual schedules and stuff like that, creating this. And this appeared just great stuff, guys. So going to give you a little taste of it, just a little opening of it, and then we'll do our George Sisler read. And by that time, two people will be left. Can I put the book title in the chat? I'm going to, as everything falls down, I'm going to do you one better. I am going to find it on Fleabay, and I'm going to put the Fleabay link up there so you can just buy it from Fleabay when you want. Okay? So hang on a sec. Sound's going to go out for a second. I will keep talking. And let's go to Fleabay, and should still be there, and then I'll bring it over. All right. Let's see. Annotated baseball stories of Ring. We'll just put Ring Lardner. This thing should be smart enough to find it. There it is, baby. $9.77. And this is the exact same book that I'm holding on my lap. I'll bring it over for you guys so as you can see it, and maybe one of you will buy it. Even if you're not a dead ball baseball fan, this is excellent, man. So here it is, $9.77 on eBay. Great cover, love it. There you can see. This is edited by George Hilton. And let's see, do we get some? I mean, look at the stuff that's on here. Oh my God, it's great. There's no really much talking about the book. Let me see what there's another one here for $8.44. Also, just to let you know, the Bill James Historical Abstract is $6.15. eBay, man. When you got a few extra bucks, go to eBay. So here it is. I'm going to put a link. I'll put a link to the $8.44 one in there because I really want Nate to get his mic. So let's get where's the one that I saw for $8.44? down here. Yeah, there it is. I hate that eBay keeps opening new tabs. Drives me nuts. All right, it's going to be a big, long virtual link, but should work. And if not, just type in the annotated baseball stories of Ring Lardner. Okay. Since this is going to my account, you might not be able to. Yeah. So it's too long, damn it. So instead, Nate, what I'll do is your original suggestion. And let me see. I think I just blew up my own. Yeah, my own chat. Holy shit! Give me a second here. I forgot about these eBay URLs. All right, so here we go. You don't even have to worry about the dates, but let's put the whole damn thing in there anyhow. Okay. Boom, boom, and boom. There you go. I should actually put that down in the comments, in the comments here too, shouldn't I? Yes, I should. Yes, I should. And we'll just do this. Boom, boom. There. We'll let people think. Okay, so give you a little taste of what this guy's about. As soon as I get to the first page, because there's a big, long introduction. And as I learned very quickly, and anybody who went to university, you know, always, always read the introductions to books. You're going to get so much more out of this. All right, so here we go. Again, if any of you guys get the book, you're going to see a lot of footnotes. Read the footnotes too. Don't just, so read the chapter, go back, read the footnotes, stuff like that. This is another great primer. I always talk about Tales from the Dead Ball era as being a good primer for dead ball baseball. This one takes you a little deeper, but boy, is it excellent! Is it excellent? And if you guys saw 8 Men Out, it's Ring Lardner singing the "I'm Forever Blowing Ball Games" to the Black Sox on the train. I forget the name of the actor, but that's Ring Lardner. That's the character, is Ring Lardner. My understanding is after his disenchantment with baseball, he actually went on to write boxing, which was, well, it was pretty corrupt too, as we know. But anyhow, A Busher's Letter Home. Okay, so Terre Haute, Indiana, September 6th. Friend Al. Well, L.O. Powell, I suppose you've seen. Now, again, there's going to be, it's written in a style pioneered by Mark Twain and Sarah Orne Jewett, so that regional sound. So you're gonna hear bad grammar, So fun stuff. All right. Anyhow, Willow Aloe Pow, I suppose you've seen in the paper where I've been sold to the White Sox. Believe me, Al, it comes as a surprise to me, and I bet it did to all you good old pals down home. You could have knocked me over with a feather when the old man come up to me and says, Jack, I sold you to the Chicago Americans. I didn't have no idea that anything like that was coming off. For 5 minutes, I was just dumb and couldn't say a word. He says, we aren't getting what you're worth, but I want you to go up to that big league and show those birds that there's a Central League on the map. He says, go and pitch the ball you've been pitching down here, and there won't be nothing to it. He says, all you need is the nerve, and Walsh or no one else won't have nothing on you. So I says I would do the best I could, and I thanked him for the treatment I got in Terre Haute. They always was good to me here, and though I did more than my share, I always felt that my work was appreciated. We are finishing second, and I done most of it. I can't help but be proud of my first year's record in professional baseball, and you know I'm not boasting when I say that, Al. Well, Al, it will seem funny to be up there in the big show when I never was really in a big city before. But I guess I seen enough of life not to be scared of the high buildings, eh, Al? I'll just give 'em what I got, and if they don't like it, they can send me back to the old Central, and I'll be perfectly satisfied. I didn't know anybody was looking me over, but one of the boys told me that Jack Doyle of the White Sox scout was down here looking at me when Grand Rapids was here. I beat them twice in that series. So when you hear the term serious, he means series. Anyhow, serious. You know, Grand Rapids never had a chance with me when I was right. I shut them out in the first game, and they got 1 run in the second on account of Flynn misjudging the ball. Anyway, Doyle liked my work, and he wired Comiskey to buy me. Comiskey come back with an offer, and they accepted it with an EX. I don't know how much they got, but anyway, I am sold to the big league, and believe me, Al, I will make good. Well, Al, I'll be home in a few days, and we'll have some of the good old times. Regards to all the boys, and tell them I'm still their pal and not all swelled up over this big league business. Your pal, Jack. So, this was originally published in the Saturday Evening Post, and was illustrated by Martin Justice. And so you see a facsimile of that very first, the very first, "You Know Me, Al." And actually, it goes further than that. So you actually get a few more letters. But it's really interesting to see this from 1914. So the book is peppered with some nice, great photographs. And again, when he's mentioning players, he's mentioning real players, real scouts, real owners. And I think that's you guys will find the annotation amazing. So that was just the very first letter in a great long book here. It's just fun to read. Again, I'm stumbling over some of the things because just the grammar is purposefully bad. Right? This is a kid from some Midwestern kid, and of course you caught the tone already. He's boasting. We'll hold off on George Sisler to a later inning. Of course he's doing some boasting. Um, it's Jack Keefe, man. So I hope that gave you a little taste of really how special the book is and what an important piece of baseball journalism it is. All right, and here we go, George Sisler. So Ring Lardner and Eight Men Out is played by John Sayles. Right, there you go. It is John Sayles, who also wrote and directed the movie and wrote the book. Yep, there you go. Do I have I so? Hey, John DFW, Christos Aneste, Happy Easter, my friend. Um, Yes, the Bill James Historical Abstract is awesome. So do I have? I left it in Europe, Clinton. So I still don't have my baseball library completely built up again. I'm sorry to say, but guys, Halverson, another great writer there. Um, so okay, so it's John Sayles. Thank you. All right, gents. We'll save our readout of George Sisler till later in the game since we just did a lot of chin wag there on the Ren Lardner book. All right. Anyhow, but one of the greatest of all time. 420 batting average that year. Josh Beckett ready to deal to the great first baseman. And Sisler swings and promptly lines one into left. Base hit. So while Sisler was not a home run hitter, he had incredible speed. Was considered the premier first baseman of the day, clutch hitter, and just great eye up there. Sisler really did it all. Um, Phew. He is one of those players that is the Big Clue and I, back when we used to talk a lot, would talk about those inner circle Hall of Famers. George Sisler is one of those inner circle Hall of Famers that you say in the same breath as Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson, Ty Cobb, George Sisler. So, fellow who played Huey Fullerton. Oh, of course, Studs Terkel. Studs Terkel played Huey Fullerton in that game. And yes, he is hard. I wouldn't necessarily call Studs Terkel a libertarian. I mean, in some respects he was, but Studs Terkel I think was more politically aligned with me. I think than a libertarian, which tends to be libertarians. What right? They tend to be economically conservative, but as far as social rights, more liberal. But I think Terkel very much wrote I think more from a working person's perspective and things like that. I don't think that Elon Musk, for instance, would be a fan of Studs Terkel, but what a great writer, regardless of where we place him on the spectrum. Great writer, and Studs Terkel was absolutely so cool. Looked nothing like Huey Fullerton at all, but really cool to see him. The only thing that disappointed me about that movie was that Christy Mathewson should have been in that movie because he and Huey Fullerton, they had already heard there were some rumors going on that the White Sox were going to throw the series. And so Huey Fullerton had asked Christy Mathewson. The man was so honest that in actual major league games, there were times when they would actually ask um, Christy Mathewson to sort of pinch umpire. So this man was above reproach, the Christian gentleman. And so he and Fullerton agreed they didn't sit next to one another in the what we would think of as a press box, whatever. But they would keep score, and what was it? They would compare, and they were both picking out kind of the same things. And I was a little disappointed that they didn't have somebody playing Christy Mathewson because he was important in helping to expose the Black Sox scandal. So yeah, so Clinton says he has quite a few of Studs Terkel's books. Yep, great writer. All right, Sisler on at first for Marty McManus. Marty McManus hit 312, so compared to 420, that's peanuts, right? But 11 home runs, 109 runs batted in. 1-1 pitch on the way, and there goes George Sisler off to the races. The throw down by Rodriguez. This is close, and they get George Sisler. Wow. So Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge, knowing what he's dealing with there, because he's so well versed in baseball history, came up gunning quickly. So bases empty, one away. McManus back in the box. Count full. McManus swings, drives this one to left field, ranging over the line and making a nice play there is Jeff Conine on the running, because there's enough real estate here. That one gets to the wall. McManus is definitely tearing around the base paths. All right, here's Jack Tobin, 331 average, 13 home runs, 66 ribbies. Team that finished one game behind the Yankees in 1921 or 1922. 1-1 pitch, sent out to center field, and this gets down for a base hit. And this is going to be a two-base hit, actually, for Jack Tobin. So he's in there standing with a two-out double. So team's tied now, or I'm sorry, St. Louis leading in hits now, 2-1 at least. And here's Ken Williams, 39 home runs, a 332 average. Pretty stacked team here, I would say. Here's the pitch. Williams swings, and this one drilled into the gap in left center. This is going to go all the way down for extra bases. Ken Williams has the RBI double, and the 1922 St. Louis Browns jump out to an early 1-0 lead here, bottom of the first at Sportsman's Park. Let's have a look at that one again. 103 miles an hour, and into no man's land it goes. A little bit of clipping there, and there we can see in the distance. All right, Jack Tobin scores. Ken Williams on at second, and here is Baby Doll Jacobson, as I said, named after a popular song of the day. 3-1 pitch. Jacobson swings, and this is going to be a base hit center field. The Browns come out swinging. Ken Williams rounds third, and he is into score. So Baby Doll Jacobson with the RBI single, and the Browns now leading 2-0 over Florida. Here's Hank Severine. 321 average, 3 home runs, 78 runs batted in. These Browns could chip away at you. 0-1 pitch on the way. The runner goes, the throw down. Jacobson slides the tag, and safe. So with a little bit of mixture of small ball and timely line drive hitting, St. Louis Browns out to a 2-0 lead here. Why Ken Williams never made the Hall of Fame is beyond Clinton Parks. Let's look at Williams' numbers here really quickly. I'm looking at his real-life stats. So Ken Williams played from 1915 to 1929. I see that he is not playing in 1917 and only a little bit in 18, so I can only assume Ken Williams went off to the First World War. Returned then in 1919. Ken Williams, so here's our answer, really. 196 196 home runs. But he stole 154 bases, a lifetime average of 319. I think for Ken Williams, Clinton, I think that's a really, really good discussion about him and his career high in home runs, by the way. I mean, he had a good run, too, of double digits from home runs from 1920 To 1927, Ken Williams hit 10 or more home runs each of those years, and in fact, topped 20 home runs in 21, 1922, and 1925. So really quite a hitter. He had some triples too there, 77 of them. I think just too short of a career, really. Losing that little bit of time to World War One, and I'm not sure. Even if you factor in World War One, that's kind of a short career. So I think that's what holds him out, Clinton, because certainly this guy was an exemplary player. Dare I say, better than Harold Baines. Oops. Well, I said it now. Harold, we love you. We respect you. Long career in the majors that none of us ever had, and but there's guys that are deserving, like that aren't in the Hall of Fame. So, all right. Anyhow, here we go. Hank Severide up there, the 1-2 pitch. Severide swings, and this one hopper to short, and played nicely there by Gonzalez, and that will retire the side. But the St. Louis Browns 2 runs, 4 hits, and we go to the top of the second. It's the Browns 2, the Marlins nothing. Derek Lee, Jeff Conine, and Juan Encarnacion do up. Derek Lee with a 271 average, 31 dingers, 92 runs batted in. Urban Shocker with the 1-2 pitch. Derek Lee, swing and a miss. So Urban Shocker brings the gas and picks up his first strikeout. Is that playing left field for Miami? His kid is now playing for Miami. Nice. And how many Bichettes are there in baseball now, by the way? All right, here's Jeff Conine. Conine, 238 average, 5 homers, 15 runs batted in. Urban Shocker with the 0-1 delivery to Conine. And 9 hits it out to 8 for the out. Baby Doll Jacobson catching that liner out in center. So quickly 2 away for Juan Encarnacion. 19 homers, 94 runs batted in. 270 batting average in 2003. 2-2 pitch. And this one, 2 Harper to short. And Encarnacion is going to slap this one to Wally Gerber for the 6-3 putout. Florida goes quietly. We go to the bottom of the second. St. Louis leads Florida 2-0. Wally Gerber, Frank Ellerby, and Urban Shocker do up for the Brownies. Josh Beckett peers in, has the sign from Ivan Rodriguez. Wally Gerber, 267 average, a home run, 51 runs batted in. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Nice sinking fastball there by Josh Beckett to pick up his first K of the game. Brings up Frank Ellerby. Nice day here in St. Louis. Ellerby, 246 hitter in 1922 with a home run, 33 runs batted in. 1-2 pitch on the way. And Ellerby swings, and this one, high fly ball out to center field. But making about 10 steps is Juan Pierre to his left and reels in the fish for out number 2. Here's Urban Shocker, a 191 hitter. Managed a home run in 1922 and 6 batted in. 1-2 pitch on the way to Shocker. Strike 3. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 on a fastball. Nothing across for the Browns. We head to the top of the 3rd inning here in St. Louis. The 22 Browns 2 and the 0-3 Marlins nothing. John DFW starting 1967 World Series Game 5. Cardinals are up 3-1 on the Red Sox. Yikes. All right. So John doing lots of cool out of the park stuff. Did some drive for the pennant and all that. So John DFW, another big out of the park baseball fan, as is Nathaniel. All right, here's Miggy. So Cabrera, 12 homers, 62 runs batted in. He hit a 268 clip in 2003 for these Marlins. Urban Shocker into the wind and the 0-2 pitch. And Cabrera just manages a little grounder to short. And Wally Gerber fires on to the great George Sisler for the 6-3 putout. 1 away now for Alex Gonzalez. Agon, we'll call him, yeah. 18 homers, 77 ribbies, and 256 average. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Shocker's delivery. Check swing, and Severide appeals down to first, and it is a strike 3. So Urban Shocker is fan 2 down for Josh Beckett, 152 hitter in 2003 with 3 ribbies. Count full on Beckett. And looks at one, just grazing the black on the outside corner. The Marlins go in order. Bottom of the third we go. The 1922 Browns 2 and the 2003 Florida Marlins nothing. And we're back at the top of the order with George Sisler. And it's time. So it is time to get it out of the way, baby. Great George Sisler. Yeah. So happy Easter. Hopefully a lot of folks later will catch the backside, flip side, other side of this little baseball extravaganza, because Beatles eternally ain't got nobody to hang out with, man. I ain't got anybody. Everybody are going to be going off to watch the Phillies and Red Sox and all that stuff, man. It's baseball season. It's a beautiful day. What more can you ask for, man? And it's the most important day in the Christian calendar. Yeah, as we say, Christ trampled down death by death, and on the tombs, and upon those in the tombs bestowing life. Ancient Christian doctrine. Right there for you. It's kind of funny how in America Christmas kind of took center stage. There's Urban Shocker. We'll talk about him another night. But George Sisler, one of those cases of a great Hall of Famer that I think was forgotten. I mean, more people know Hannes Wagner than know George Sisler. So, all right, is this going to be that long? Yep, it is. But I figure, what the hell, for one of my favorite players in baseball, it's worth it. So, here we go, guys. Let's learn about George Sisler, nicknamed Gorgeous George. All right. So his playing career, we'll do his playing career later. Pretty long career for him. He was born on the 24th of March in 1893 in Manchester, Ohio, and he died on the 26th of March, so 2 days, in 1973, so 2 days after his birthday, in Richmond Heights, Missouri. Made his major league debut on the 28th of June, 1915 with the St. Louis Browns. He was a lefty, 5'11", 170, so wow, pretty cool. George Sisler and I pretty much the same height and weight. I think I've got him beat by an inch. But I weigh 170, so wow, I didn't know that. I'm the same size as George Sisler, but he's in the Hall of Fame and I'm not. Okay. Anyhow, George Sisler twice hit 400, set a single-season record for hits, stolen bases with abandon, and in his rookie season outdueled one of the greatest pitchers ever before being struck by a career-threatening illness. Sisler's relative anonymity among baseball fans isn't because of his numbers. A career .340 hitter, he led the league in average in hits twice and was the American League's top base stealer 4 times. But Gorgeous George lacked those intangibles to transform mere talent into the stuff of legends. He lacked the fiery flamboyance of Ty Cobb and the boisterous brilliance of Babe Ruth, Hall of Fame second baseman Eddie Collins once said. George was a great first baseman and a great hitter, but he was too quiet and clean living to win headlines. Sisler attended Central High School in Akron, Ohio, and later enrolled in the University of Michigan engineering program. He also tried out for the baseball team. Managing the squad was Branch Rickey, who had just given up his failing law practice. When the freshman Sisler showed up to an audition for the varsity, Rickey tolerantly let him toss the ball around with the big kids for a day. The workout was unforgettable, Rickey recalled. He pitched batting practice and for the next 20 minutes created no end of varsity embarrassment. His speed and control made him unhittable. All his moves were guided by perfection of reflexes, which made him quick, graceful, accurate, the foundation of athletic greatness. It was all there. Still, Rickey kept Sisler with the freshmen. When Sisler got a starting assignment in an inter-squad game, the headline in the school newspaper, the Michigan Daily, wrote, "Unearthed find in interclass game. Sisler, freshman engineer, twirls for 7 innings and strikes out 20 men." In that game, Sisler threw so hard that his catcher had trouble holding on to the ball. Sisler's 20th strikeout victim reached first base on a pass ball and proceeded to second and third in the same fashion. The base runner finally attempted to score on still another muff by the catcher, but Sisler tagged him out at the plate to end the game. Not surprisingly, Sisler began to attract professional attention. Although still a minor, he had signed a professional contract with Akron in the Class C Ohio-Pennsylvania League. If that contract were valid, Sisler's athletic eligibility in Ann Arbor would have been in jeopardy. When Rickey appeared before organized baseball's governing body, the National Commission, to argue Sisler's case, he contended, "You must not force recognition of this illegal contract. If you do, you will forever alienate parents and colleges and even high schools. For who's going to trust you if you cajole minors into signing contracts and then declare them suspended, as you've tried to suspend Sisler, when they changed their minds?" Neither of Sisler's parents had agreed to the contract, and he had not accepted any payment. The National Commission ruled 2-1 in Sisler's favor. In Sisler's freshman season, he pitched 57 innings, allowing just 20 hits and striking out 84. At the same time, he hit .442. During his varsity college career, Sisler batted .404 and struck out 232 in 153 innings. But before he graduated on June 10, 1915, he discovered that no team except the Pirates were interested in acquiring his services. Apparently, a gentleman's agreement existed between the major league clubs to allow Pittsburgh, which had previously purchased Sisler's contract from Columbus, to retain him despite the National Commission ruling. Rickey, now with the Browns, talked St. Louis ownership into signing the prospect. Sisler went immediately to the majors. In 1915, split his time between the outfield, first base, and the pitcher's mound. One of his pitching assignments, the one he referred to as his most memorable day in baseball, involved a duel against the great Walter Johnson. Johnson had been Sisler's boyhood hero. When Johnson had recorded his 55 and two-thirds inning scoreless streak, Sisler said he was as proud as though he had done it himself. On the subject of facing his hero, Sisler said, "I'll never forget that one. We knew Johnson would be on the mound, but Rickey hadn't told us who would do our hurling. That night, Branch came into my room and told me I would pitch. I didn't want to sleep. The next day, I was going to pitch against Walter Johnson, and I beat him." Sisler prevailed on the mound duel 2-1. After the game was over, he nearly apologized to the big train for defeating him. However, as good a pitcher as Sisler was, his future, like that of another left-hander, Ruth, was not on the mound. By 1918, Gorgeous George was already considered one of the best first basemen in the game. Sisler, it was written, has the dazzling ability of the Cobbesque type. He is just as fast, showy, and sensational, very nearly, if not quite as good a natural hitter, as fast in speed of foot, an even better fielder, and gifted with a versatility Cobb himself might envy. By 1920, he had defeated Cobb for a batting championship, hitting .407, and Sisler established the all-time major league record of 257 hits in a season. "I always considered the 1920 season my best," he said. Even better than 1922, when he hit .420 and paced the circuit in hits and runs. That year, he hit in 41 consecutive games and won the American League Most Valuable Player award. "He single-handedly led us down the wire in the pennant race that year," Branch Rickey said. "Why, he only struck out 14 times and 586 at-bats. We should have won the pennant, but the Yankees edged us out." Sisler did damage not only with his bat, he also led the league in stolen bases 4 times. As a fielder, he was considered the best in the business, an unmatched genius with the glove. 7 times he topped league first baseman in assists and fielding average, 6 times in putouts, and 3 times in double plays. Although considered one of the game's gentlemen, Sisler also displayed flashes of temper. Once, after pitcher Bob Groom criticized him mercilessly for failing to snag a high throw, Sisler stormed over to Groom and with one punch sent him to the dugout floor. On another occasion, Sisler hit umpire George Hildebrand with his glove, drawing a brief suspension. Although Sisler compiled a lifetime .340 average and batted .3997 from 1920 through 1922, he might have been even better had he not suffered from serious eye problems. In January 1923, Sisler came down with an attack of the flu that badly aggravated his sinuses. which in turn left him with a serious case of double vision. Consequently, he sat out the entire 1923 season. All season long I suffered, Sisler said. I felt sorry for the fans, for my teammates, for everyone except for myself. I planned to get back in uniform for 1924. I just had to meet a ball with a good swing again and then run. The doctors all said I'd never play again, but when you're desperate, when you're fighting for something that actually keeps you alive, well, the human will is all you need. When he returned to action in the spring of 1924, he still saw 2 balls at the plate, but worked his way through it, hitting better than 300 in 6 of his last 7 seasons. But he was not the George Sisler of old. When he came back, we soon learned something, said the Yankees' Bob Shockey, and this shows how mean it was in those days. When he was up at the plate, he could watch you only for so long, and then he'd have to look down to get his eyes focused again. So we'd keep waiting up there until he'd have to look down and then pitch. He was never the same hitter after that. In January 1922, Sisler had returned to St. Louis from managing the Vernon Club in the California Winter League. He said, "It gave me an insight into baseball from the manager's point of view, perhaps an idea of how managers may be expected to react to a given situation will improve my playing. However, I have no ambitions to be a manager." Yet, at the beginning of the 1924 season, he replaced Jimmy Austin as the Browns manager, a position he held through 1926. "I never should have accepted that role in the first place," Sisler later confessed. "I simply wasn't ready to manage. I was only 31, and it was too early in my career." In December 1927, Sisler was sold to Washington for $25,000, but hit so poorly that his market value plummeted to just $7,500 the following May when he went to the Braves. Boston released Sisler at the end of the 1930 season, but he signed on with Rochester to the International League, where he batted .303 in 159 games and led the league in assists. In 1932, he became player-manager of the Texas League Shreveport Oilers. The club moved to Tyler, Texas in May when their park burned. That's where he ended his playing career, batting a disappointing .287. Despite having Wally Shang, Aaron Ward, and Wally Moses on the club, the Oilers finished 8th. Sisler was out of baseball until 1943 when he accepted a scouting position with Brooklyn and was reunited with mentor Branch Rickey. Sisler managed Newport News of the Piedmont League in 1945 and scouted again for Brooklyn from 1946 through 1950. When Rickey moved over to Pittsburgh, Sisler went with him, remaining as a Pirates scout until 1956. He then worked as their batting instructor through 1961 before again returning to the Pirates scouting ranks. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1939. So guys, thanks for hanging in there and listening to the story of one of the inner circle, one of the true pantheon within the Baseball Hall of Fame, the great George Sisler. So, hell of a pitcher, huh? Hell of a pitcher. So, except for maybe the home runs and stuff like that, and the drinking and stuff, but some similarities there. So we talk about Shohei Ohtani. Now we have 2 other players we can look at. Um, great players. George Sisler and George Herman Ruth. Both superb pitchers and even better hitters. All right. Sisler in this game, 1 for 1 as we get back to it. Thank you for that, Nathaniel. I like that. All right. You can see George Sisler in this episode of the Old Game Show, to tell the truth. Oh, cool. I'm going to bring that up here, and then I'm going to pause it and watch it later. There we go. Cool. Oh, geez, and on the panel, Peggy King and Johnny Carson. So this was 11 September 1961. All right, back to the ball game. 2-1 pitch on the way to Gorgeous George, 1 for 1. Sisler swings, hard hit ground ball, diving stop at second, quick throw by Castillo, and they do get the fleet-footed Sisler for out number 1. Martin McManus now, 0 for 1 in the box. Josh Beckett peers in, has the sign from Pudge Rodriguez. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And swung on, ground ball to second base. And once again, it's going to be Castillo's job to pick and toss. So Luis on to Derek for the 4-3 and 2 down for Jack Tobin, 1 for 1 in the game. 2-2 pitch on the way to Tobin. Doubled his last time up, and this time Oh, little dunker into right field. If that isn't the definition of a Texas leaguer, I don't know what is. So Tobin staying with that fastball and just able to fist it in there to shallow right. So Tobin aboard now for Ken Williams. 1 for 1 with an RBI. St. Louis would love to see the great Ken Williams jack one out of here. 1-2 pitch, 2 down, bottom of the third. Williams swings and misses. Josh Beckett comes with a nice bit of flummery there, a little changeup. So base hit by St. Louis, runner stranded. We head to the top of the fourth. Browns still leading this one 2-0. Good afternoon, Mr. Legends and Greg Gorecki. He says, could be a humpback liner. So happy Easter to you guys. Christos Aneste, Christos Voskresce, Christos Adviat. Christ is risen. Welcome, dudes. So tonight, gentlemen, we're going to take another pause. We're not going to read anything. But it's time to do some PR. So hopefully tonight on Legend Sports Universe, Franchise Stars Baseball League Season 4, it's the All-Star Game. Archward has nothing on Legend Sports Universe. No, indeed, buddy. So tonight, see the best. Franchise Stars Baseball League All-Star Game. Don't know what time it's going to be. Hopefully it's happening tonight, because he said hopefully last night, tomorrow night, and this is tomorrow, and now we wait for the night. Okay, everybody following my logic there? And hopefully this is going to be a live broadcast, Mr. Legends. I'm hoping. Mrs. Legends, she'll be cool with it. She'll be cool with it, right? Should be sometime after 10. So guys, if you've liked Legends channel, you have tapped the bell. Interesting, the terms we use. Tap that bell and bang the like button, huh? So we do some tapping and banging. So guys, sometime after 10, All-Star Game, Franchise Stars Baseball League Season 4. Be there. Be there. All right. Juan Pierre leading off here. We're back at the top of the order for the 2003 Marlins. 1922 Browns leading this one 2-0. Again, a one-and-done tournament. 0-1 delivery on the way to Juan Pierre. Lefty swings and liner right to first. And our player of note in this game, George Sisler, grabs it for one away. Interesting, rather strange defensive. They're getting better with defensive ratings, but I just noticed this. Sisler only rated a 45. Might have to ask in the Out of the Park forums about that. This guy was considered like the greatest first baseman of his day. How he's only a 45 is beyond me. All right, anyhow, here's Luis Castillo. He's 1-for-1. Count full on Castillo. Castillo swings. This one liner to third. And Frank Ellerby has it. So 2 quick up and down. And here's Pudge, who's 0-for-1. Is he going to line out? 0-1 pitch to Ivan Rodriguez. And nope, he's going to do a little base hit into center field. Second hit for Florida in the game here. And that will bring up Derek Lee. 0-for-1 for Lee. Struck out last time, and he will repeat that now as well. Side retire. Runner left on. We go to the bottom of the fourth. St. Louis holding on to that 2-0 lead. Baby Doll Jacobson, Hank Severide, and Wally Gerber due up for the Brownies. Josh Beckett is fan 3 in this game. Baby Doll Jacobson, 1-for-1 with an RBI. You won't hear those flubs on Legends channel. Full count. And Jacobson chases that little changeup out of the zone. Josh Beckett trying to expand it and does so successfully. 4th strikeout of the game now, and here for him brings up Hank Severide, who is 0-for-1. Digs in the box. Josh Beckett has the sign from Pudge, and here is the pitch. Severide cuts in the first pitch and skied to center field, measuring it up and gloving it out there is Juan Pierre. So quickly 2 down here in the home half of the 4th inning at Sportsman's Park brings up Wally Gerber. 3-0 pitch. Gerber lays off and takes ball 4. I mean, I could just go in and, not during the game, but I could go in and edit George Sisler. So for this tournament, I'll leave him as is. All right, here's Frank Ellerby. Nothing for one. Gerber, decent speed at first. Beckett checks the runner, comes home with a 1-2 pitch, and the runner's off to the bases, or off to the races. The throw down, and Wally Gerber has it pilfered. So 2 out, stolen base. St. Louis now the runner in scoring position. Ellerby back in the box. Full count. Ellerby swing and a miss. So a wasted stolen base. So a runner left in scoring position. We go to the top of the 5th. And Urban Shocker working on a 2-hitter right now. Jeff Conine, 1 Encarnacion, and Miggy due up. Shocker has the sign, toes the rubber, and the 1-0 delivery. Jeff Conine lined out to center his last time up, and he's going to dump this into left, base hit. So we'll make that a 3-hitter now for Urban Shocker. Okay, so it will be live because Mrs. Legends will be asleep by then. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Because, I mean, I love your premieres, man, but I love the way you interact with we ne'er-do-wells in the chat. So, again, sometime after 10 tonight, guys, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. All right. Conine at first. Conine decent speed, and here's Juan Encarnacion. He is nothing for one. Shocker ready to deal. Count even. Encarnacion, oh, swinging right through that little screwball there by Urban Shocker. So picks up his 5th K of the game, and here's Miguel Cabrera batting with 1 down, 1 on. Cabrera, nothing for 1. Count 2 balls, 1 strike. Cabrera swings, high fly ball out to right field, and right into the pocket is Jack Tobin making the catch. You notice here, thank you again, Mike Silva, for this accuracy too. There are no warning tracks in the 1920s in baseball parks, so good stuff. All right, here's Alex Gonzalez batting with 2 away. Gonzalez 0 for 1. Conine on at first. 1-1 pitch, fly ball out to right field. This should end the inning, and indeed it does. Jack Tobin makes the catch. So Florida leaves 1, and they pick up a hit, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. St. Louis 2, Florida nothing. Urban Shocker, George Sisler, and Marty McManus due up. Shocker nothing for 1. 0-2 pitch on the way. Shocker will swing and miss. So Josh Beckett with the fastball picking up K number 6. Greg Gorecki says at one time you could also edit the skin tone, but unless I'm missing something, you can no longer do that. Both Don Clendenin of the Mets and Alfredo Griffin of Blue Jays are white. So yeah, your warning is when you smashed into the wall. Exactly. So yeah, so the only reason you do see some face gen in here is I haven't updated my photo file. That, and again the fact that I first used face gen in Out of the Park Baseball. This was like 3 or 4 editions ago. Hannes Wagner wearing a goatee. It doesn't do well with older players. For modern day players, much better. All right, here is Mr. Sisler, 1 for 2. Warning is when you hit the wall, like Bump Bailey, right? 1-0 pitch, and Sisler is going to ground this one down in the corner along the foul line, first base side, and George Sisler tearing it up today, knowing he's the player of note in this game. Again, a great Hall of Famer, largely forgotten, not by you guys, but I would say a casual baseball fan. By the way, so Legends, is Sisler, because I never seem to catch Baltimore games, is George Sisler in the Franchise Stars Baseball League yet? And if he is he as great as I'm hoping he is? Minor league legend Rodney McRae, right? All right, here's McManus. He is nothing for 2. Full count. McManus swinging a miss. So Josh Beckett now bringing some gas there. Strikeout number 7. And here's Jack Tobin. Perfect 2 for 2 today. Sisler in scoring position with excellent speed. Brownie's looking for more. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on. Base hit. Right field. Is that going to be enough to score Sisler? Yes, it is. So Sisler in there, standing. And that is going to be RBI single for Jack Tobin. George Sisler comes in to score, and the St. Louis Browns now leading 3-0. This one looking a little bit, I don't know. Chad Fox there now. He will come in to pitch for the 2003 Marlins. 2 wins, 1 loss, 14 walks, 27 strikeouts, a 2.13 under an average. Remember, this is a one-and-done tournament. Teams voted on, if you will, in an article published in Boston.com by, I think it was 30 AP writers, actually. So maybe I'll have to see in the All-Star game tonight if George Sisler is in the Franchise Stars Baseball League, because for some reason I'm not remembering if he's there or not yet. Or is he going to be like Hannes Wagner? He's not there yet, but hopefully someday. All right, so Chad Fox will face Ken Williams with 2 down and Jack Tobin on at first. The Browns with another run in here in the bottom of the 5th. 1-2 pitch. And this one is going to get it's a wild pitch. So Rodriguez has to go back and get the ball. When he turns around, Jack Tobin out there at the Keystone sack. So Ken Williams back in the box, count full. And here is the pitch. Williams takes outside all the way, ball 4. So Chad Fox loses Williams. Williams, the faster runner, trailing Tobin at second. And here's Baby Doll Jacobson, RBI in this game. 1-1 pitch on the way now. Jacobson swings, and this one's singling liner to left, and this will get down, base hit, and the St. Louis Browns, the throw home, the tag, safe. Jack Tobin in there. Baby Doll Jacobson, RBI single, and the St. Louis Browns of 1922 pulling away 4-0. And for those that are curious, I have this entire tournament set to modern default era. So if anything, the older teams, especially the dead ball teams, are going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. David Lando joining us here. He says, Happy Easter to those who celebrate. Play ball, baby. What an interesting matchup here. Yeah. And David Lando, belated happy and blessed Passover to you. I know Passover just recently passed over, so to David. Good to see you, bud. How are you doing in the Fields of Dreams League this season? Are you putting the smack down on the irrepressible erstwhile, if you will, indefatigable MV? All right, here's Hank Severide. Nothing for 2. 2-1, 2 down. St. Louis Browns leading 4-0 right now. 1-1 pitch. Severide swings. Hard ground ball to third. And taking it to the bag himself is Lowell. So they'll get the lead runner. But the St. Louis Browns pick up 2 more runs on 3 hits. And a runner left on. We head to the top of the 6th. It's 4-0 St. Louis. Urban Shocker scattering 3 hits through 5 innings of work and has struck out 5. So Mike Lowe, Juan Pierre, and Luis Castillo due up for the Fish. Lowe in 2003, a 276 average, including 32 home runs, 105 batted in. The 1-2 pitch. Mike Lowe swings, and this is going to get down, base hit. Little flare in there to center. Diane Quayle, baby. And Mike Lowe is aboard. All right, here's Juan Pierre. We're back at the top of the order now for Florida. He has nothing for 2. 4th hit for Florida in this game now. Urban Shocker has the sign from Hank Severide. 3-1 pitch. Taken all the way. And Juan Pierre draws the walk. So Urban Shocker now finding himself in unfamiliar territory in this game. He's got runners on. 2 of them, to be exact. Juan Pierre, the faster runner. Here's Luis Castillo. 1 for 2 in the game. So St. Louis looking to turn 2 here. 0-2 pitch on the way. They'll take the strikeout, though. Yes, they will. So that time, Urban Shocker living on that changeup, actually. So Shocker picking up strikeout number 6. 1 down now for Ivan Rodriguez. He is 1 for 2. 1-1 is the count. Rodriguez swings, and this one, 3-6-3, inning-ending double play. Urban Shocker loving that. So the shutout is continuing. We go to the bottom of the sixth, and David Lando says, interesting matchup. Indeed, it is. Maybe an overmatch. Too early to say, though, as we're in the late middle innings. Chad Fox will face Wally Gerber, Frank Ellaby, and Urban Shocker. Got swept out of the playoffs by Buckshot. Oh, man. Yeah, still on, Philip. I don't have anybody to spend Pascha/Easter with, so, yep, I'm on. Maybe I'll crash in a little while. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just do more baseball. I'm not going to beat Dwayne Martz's YouTube record, but what the hell. Probably just going to have some Indian food later. Traditional Easter there. But I love Indian food. All right. Wally Gerber, nothing for one, leading it off here. Chad Fox worked at one third of an inning in relief and stays on. 0-2 pitch. Gerber walked last time and he whiffs this time. So Fox coming in with a slider. One away. That one 89 on the gun as Frank Ellerby settles in the box. He is nothing for two. All right, hot corner man for these Browns waits for the Chad Fox delivery. Count full. Ellerby holds up and draws the walk. So Chad Fox issuing 2 free passes in the game. I will try to send it again, Philip, because I copied and pasted the email that you gave me. So if not, we'll have to try again, man. So you're going to be having ham. Yeah, the people I'm staying with, they're having ham. I'm a vegetarian, so I won't be having ham. So, but some Indian food. Looking forward to that later. Nice spicy chana masala. Oh my God, and paratha. Oof. It burns twice if you get my drift. So Eddie Foster in. So Urban Shocker leaves with a 4-hit shutout. Eddie Foster, looking at him in 1922. 12 RBI and 306 average. Ellerby on at first, one down. Chad Fox deals the 1-1 pitch to Eddie Foster. Foster liner out to right field, and Encarnacion gloves it for out number 2. Yeah, it checks. It shouldn't be a spam, but again, it's not going to come in as Beatles eternally. So, Tim, Clee baseball fan, how you doing, man? So, haven't seen you in a while. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Christos Aneste. I like the Greek version best. All right. Back at the top of the order, our player of note, George Sisler, who is 2 for 3. 0-1 pitch now to Gorgeous George. And Sisler is going to ground to second to end the inning. Up with that one is Luis Castillo, and that is it. All right. St. Louis does nothing with the walk. We go to the top of the 7th, and Dutch Henry now comes on relief. And he inherits, so far, a 4-hitter from Urban Shocker. Dutch Henry, no wins or losses in 1922, just worked 5 innings. Walked 5 and struck out 3. So not the deepest bullpen in this tournament. So Henry ready to go. I like that uniform. It's not St. Louis Browns, but that's a cool looking uniform there. Very old school. All right, Derek Lee, Jeff Conine, and Juan Encarnacion due up for these Florida Marlins. And if any of them get on, I expect a pinch hitter for Chad Fox. All right, the southpaw Dutch Henry has finished his warm-up pitches. 2-2 pitch on the way now from Dutch to Derek Lee, and Derek Lee jumps on this one. So base hit into right field. I think we'll see. Did they pull Shocker an inning too early? So 5th hit now for Florida in the game, and here comes Jeff Conine, who is 1 for 2. Derek Lee, good speed, leads off first. 1-2 pitch. And this one absolutely crushed out to right field, but camping under it is baby doll Jacobson calling off Jack Tobin. So Jacobson, pretty good center fielder out there. And here's Juan Encarnacion. 1 down. Dutch Henry looking to induce the 2-ball here. 0-2 pitch on the way. Encarnacion, strike. You're out of there. All right, so slider there by Dutch Henry. And Todd Hollinsworth will come in as a pinch hitter. So Chad Fox is indeed done. So Derek Lee on a first, 2 out. And for Hollinsworth in 2003, 3 homers, 20 ribbies, 254 average. Didn't realize quite a few Cubs on this Marlins team. 1-0 pitch. The runner goes. Derek Lee is going to have himself a stolen base. So a bit of a high throw there by Hank Severide and the Florida Marlins, trying to take advantage and try to at least get on the board. Haven't had any chances to really steal or do anything in this game. Hollinsworth back in the box. Count even 2-2. Hollinsworth looks at a called strike 3. Nice pitch there by Dutch Henry. 2 strikeouts in the inning. That does it for Florida. 7th inning stretch time here at Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, Missouri. The 1922 St. Louis Browns lead the 2003 Florida Marlins in this one-and-done tournament 4-0 in our first game with the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers against the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays. So the first 2/3 of that game, good, nail-biting, close baseball, and then Toronto just went absolutely nuclear and destroyed. So the Brooklyn Dodgers are out. All right. Back to it. Tim, you got to let me know when we can do another one of your games on the channel, because I'd love to do that. Something that you filmed before, whatever. And remember, tonight, sometime after 10 o'clock, will be the Franchise Stars Baseball League Season 4 All-Star Game, Legend Sports Universe, where legends come to play forever. Love it. All right, Marty McManus leads things off. The 2-3-4 hitters due up for the St. Louis Browns. McManus, Tobin, and Ken Williams. Tommy Phelps comes in now to pitch for Florida. Of course, Michael Lowell staying in at third. And that's all we have in terms of defensive substitutions. All right. So Tommy Phelps with a 3-2 record in 2003 for the Marlins. 23 walks, 43 strikeouts. 2-2 pitch on the way. McManus, knees buckling there as he looks at a called strike 3 inside corner. So Pudge doing a nice job framing up that pitch for the umpire. All right, here's Jack Tobin now. Tobin, perfect 3 for 3 today, including an RBI. And here is the pitch from Phelps. Tobin, first pitch swinging, slow roller to short. Tobin, good speed going down the line at first, but they get him by a step. All right. So quickly 2 down now for Ken Williams. He's got an RBI in this game, 1 for 2. 2-2 pitch on the way. Doubled and struck out. Williams swings and line drive, base hit, right field. So the Browns make noise when there's 2 outs, as we've seen. Scoring summary has been 2 for the Browns in the first and 2 in the fifth, and that is it. All right, here's Baby Doll Jacobson, also having a hell of a day, and responsible for both the St. Louis Browns runs. 2 RBI, 2 for 3 on the day. Ken Williams, not only a slugger, but excellent speed at first. And here is the pitch to Jacobson. Williams does not go, sinking liner into right. This gets down, base hit. St. Louis Browns keeping it going as they have been. 2 outs, a slide into third, safe. So Encarnacion's throw down the line a little bit, some in the third base side. Ken Williams makes it to third. So runners at the corners now for Hank Severide. Nothing in 3 attempts thus far. Tommy Phelps, shaking off Rodriguez, has one he likes, sets, and from the stretch in the 1-2 pitch. And this one swung on. This will get down, base hit. And the St. Louis Browns pick up an RBI. 5-0. Hank Severide picking up the ribby. As Ken Williams scores. So St. Louis in double digits in hits, 5-0. Tommy Phelps now to face Wally Gerber, who's 0 for 2. Baby Doll Jacobson in the second, trailing him the slower Hank Severide. 3-0 pitch to Gerber. Gerber takes inside all the way, didn't even flinch the wicket. Bases are sold out with Brownies, and it brings up Frank Ellerby, who is 0 for 2. No place to put Frank Ellerby. Rodriguez sets up a little bit inside. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And he chases inside. Swing and a miss. Strike three with the bases loaded. But the St. Louis Browns pick up a run on 3 hits, no errors. And we head to the top of the 8th inning. And Florida will send up Alex Gonzalez, Mike Lowell, and Juan Pierre. Dutch Henry will stay on, worked an inning in relief, and picked up 2 strikeouts. Gonzalez, nothing for 2 in the game. And here is the pitch. Gonzalez swings in the first pitch, sinking liner to right. And right on that is Jack Tobin. The St. Louis Browns looking absolutely fantastic thus far through 7 1/3. And here's Mike Lowell. 1 for 1 in the game. 2-2 pitch. Lowell swings, and this one hammered out to left field. This will be the first run for the Florida Marlins. They get on the board in the top of the 8th. Mike Lowell touches them all 369 feet. And again, thanks to D. Scott Howard for noticing, even the old ballparks, thanks to Mike Silva, now have a live scoreboard, so you can see it out here in left field. All right, let's look at that home run by Mike Lowell. 103 off the bat, and there she blows. You get a good look at the scoreboard there. All right. So, of course, when I see that, it's the old New England saying in Boston, the Lowells speak only to the Cabots, and the Cabots speak only to God. All right, back at the top of the order for Florida, and here's Juan Pierre. He is nothing for 2. Dutch Henry appears in, has the sign. The 1-2 delivery on the way. And the lefty swings, hammers us out to center field. This could be trouble, except that it's Baby Doll Jacobson out there in center field. So he's going to run it down for out number 2. Luis Castillo, who we saw in the other game, is 1 for 3. 2-2 pitch on the way to Castillo. Struck out his last time up. Castillo is going to just hop this one to George Sisler, who takes it to the bag himself for out number 3. But the Marlins do get on the board, and we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. The 1922 Browns 5 and the 2003 Marlins 1. If the Browns hold on and win this, they will be the earliest team to advance to round 2. So let's see what happens here. Herman Bronke. I don't know a lot about Herman Bronke here, but he will pinch hit. So Dutch Henry's day is done. 64 bats for Bronke in 1922, with 2 RBI and a 281 average for him. Tommy Phelps stays on, 2 strikeouts and a free pass in 1 inning of work. 1-2 pitch on the way to Bronke. Swing and a miss. So slider inside. Phelps working that slider inside very, very well. Back at the top of the order now. George Sisler, 2 for 4. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes on our player of note. Sisler swings, and this one way up there, but in the infield and right down into the glove of Alex Gonzalez for out number 2. When we get to the Florida 9th, it will be Pudge, Derek Lee, and Mr. 9 himself, Jeff Conine. All right, 0 for 4 for Marty McManus. And here is the wind and the pitch. McManus swings, ground ball to third. And easy pick over there at the hot corner by Mike Lowell, who fires on to Derek Lee for the 5-3 putout. So the Brownies go quietly, and we go to the 9th. Florida down to its final 3 outs and down 4 runs. Dixie Davis will come on here for the St. Louis Browns. 11 wins, 6 losses in 1922, with 87 walks, 65 strikeouts, 4.08 earned run average. Pudge 1 for 3 in the game. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Fastball by Dixie Davis. So 1 away now. Here's Derek Lee. He is 1 for 3. And the 1-2 pitch. Cut on, and Derek Lee chased it out of the strike zone. So Davis has a good morning and a good afternoon. Can he strike out the side and advance the 1922 St. Louis Browns Into round two. Jeff Conine, 1 for 3. Count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Conine swings and misses. How about that? Dixie Davis strikes out the side. The 1922 St. Louis Browns, the earliest team to advance. We're not going to read the recap. We'll just do the line score. For the 1922 St. Louis Browns, 5 runs, 11 hits, no errors. For the 2003 Florida Marlins, 1 run, 6 hits, and no errors. I think they're going to be calling. Yep, Urban Shocker gets player of the game. I definitely deserves it. And of course, our player of note is George Sisler. So what do we have here in terms of long ball action? Just 1 home run in this game. So getting it done in other ways. All right, let's leave this game. Wow, this was fun. John DFW reporting back. The Red Sox win Game 5 in his 1967 World Series. So he was down 3-1 to the Cardinals, down 3-2. Series returns to Fenway Park. All right, looking at matchups here. And St. Louis Browns, really pretty effortless win for them over the Marlins. Still got some good games coming up here. The 1924 Washington Senators will be playing I believe, the 2002 Anaheim Angels. Oh, I'm sorry, I said 1940. So they are now the second oldest or second earliest team. Would be we have 3 teams from the 20s. I'm sorry, geez. So the 22 Browns are the earliest, and then the 27 Yankees and the 29 Athletics. So, pretty good stuff here. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's any teams in here from the 1940s. They kind of got skipped over. No, we had one, and they were eliminated. The 1942 Cardinals. Yaz hit a homer and a double. Nice, Captain Carl. All right, guys, we've been on for 2 hours and 42 minutes, and I think that's enough. That's enough to put you guys through it. It is the holiest day, after all, in Christianity, and to put you guys through any more torture on this holiest of days would just be unconscionable on my part. So, might be back for some baseball later, but we're certainly going to be back for the Legend Sports Universe All-Star Game tonight. Greg, thank you very much. Hope to see you again sometime. It's been a while, my fellow Pirate and Cardinal fan. So Greg Gorecki, John DFW, Philip Reynolds, Clee Baseball Fan 879, David Lando, Legend Sports Universe, Nathaniel Advocate 8, Nate D. Scott, Howard, Clinton Parks, the Professor, with us here today. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. D. Scott, Howard, Animal Whisperer, Bart Lowe was with us. VL123, we were trading some Mafia stories. AP was here. AP, a brother, Orthodox Christian, was here. So there's 2 of us in the community now. Nice. And Nathaniel, first one in the ballpark. Guys, thank you very much. Blessed Easter. And if I don't see you beforehand, we'll see you tonight at the All-Star Game and see you around the batting cage. And John, win that World Series. All right, guys, take care.